protect the birds and whales he says they kill. But don't believe that story, it's really just a shill. He just did not want to see them wild golfing on Scottish hills. A hoax, he said it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled strokes, changing a storm path with black marker strokes, confronted with the truth to say it's all a hoax. Casting mail-in ballots is something that he's done. Now he wants to ban them for each and every one. He claims it's for integrity in each election, but he won't believe the results unless it's him that's won. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, they'll fool you with distractions like real sugar in Cokes. Confronted with the truth, he'll say it's all a hoax. He promised to release all the Epstein files that caused all the MAGA base to react with smiles. But how long has he put it off? It sure has been a while, and now he's calling this a hoax, protecting pedophiles. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, he'll keep on gaslighting up until he croaks. Confronted with the truth, he'll say it's all a hoax.
Trump piled debt, trillions tall. Promised Mexico would fund that wall. Praised dictators, said they're strong. Had Joe done it, they'd say he's wrong. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Goes through crises, storms, and more. Called soldiers losers who died in war. Hired his kids to run D.C. If it was Hunter, they'd scream treachery. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, the numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, Fox News would say I'd made. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Love Kim Jong-un, he wrote love letters that take the guns first, lose those rights forever. Signed you spending bills with glee. Had Joe done that, it'd be tyranny. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, the numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they shall look today. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Kept secret files, countless untold. Said Putin's word was good as gold. Invited the Taliban to come to U.S. soil. If Joe had done that, they'd all recoil. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, the numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd want him to pay. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Double standards loud and clear. Rules for Trump, but not for peers. What they call treason if Joe's the name is patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, full numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
This just in. A sudden spike in logic levels across the city. Citizens report seeing a man with glasses and a podcast mic. We go now live to Liberal Dan.
gonna call when Nazi writings on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, cause you know we got a plan. The right wing talking shit, but he ain't about to quit. He'll take his proton pack and zap your logic cause it's whack. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall.
It's being reported that Liberal Dan is setting up what appears to be some sort of straw man containment field.
He's calling out your lies with his mic vaporize. Cross the streams in your dreams, bitch, you know that he's too wise. You're like Slimer talking crap, but you walked into his trap. Yo, it's more than entertainment, it's misinformation contained. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. The Statue of Liberty, the writing you can see. So bring the huddled masses, it's a war of the classes. While Trump may think he's Vigo, Dan can cut through that ego. He's got the facts to prove him wrong, got that logic like Egon. Your logic is a ghost, cause you know this chick is toast. When you follow MTG, it's conspiracy, you'll see. There's no need to taser, he's got wit like Occam's razor. Liberal Dan cuts those lies with his Jewish-based laser.
It's unbelievable. Liberal Dan just used the literal dog whistle to lure a large group of internet trolls into what is being called a self-collapsing rhetoric singularity. In all my years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this.
So don't call to be a heckler, you ain't no Judge Rexler. He'll bust you like Scolery, cause your logic's looking hairy. Right-wing callers think they're cool, but they sounding just like Zool. You the dog, he the man, and yo, his name is Liberal Dan. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan.
Proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. Faux patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated. Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. A failing media that's barely treading water. They're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough, hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But Liberal Dan will see us flow. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk comes the left, that's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. Cause Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right.
Okay. Uh, Welcome to Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. Let me see something real quick. I think I shut everything down, so I have to, we're missing some, whatchamacallit. We're just going to leave that open right now until we figure out what the heck is going on here. I was having all sorts of computer problems today. I thought I was going to have to cancel the show or be super late, but we were able to start the show with only 2 minutes later than normal. So let's see what's going on with this application and why is it not working? Yes, throw up the Joelfish while we're there. Yes, I know no camera. I know we're muted. I don't know what is going on here with this. Whatever it is that's going on right here, let's go ahead and end this process. And then, oh, come on, hello, there we go. End task. And then we are going to try and reopen the task and see if we can get that to work. Nothing like having to do technical difficulties. I guess just to check when I have to do a full restart of my camera. We go, there we are, let's see, and then we could do, oh look, there we are, I've now appeared out of the aether. Welcome everybody to Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. Again, this is your host Dan Zimmerman coming at you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. To join the show, just leave your comments and questions, etc. in the chat, either at liberaldanradio.com or twitch.liberaldanradio.com. Support the show, like, comment, share, etc. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, interact with the videos in many ways, commenting on it, responding to other people's comments, help the algorithm because Al Gore needs more rhythm. And so let's talk a little bit we'll talk about all the other ways that you could help out the show, you know, in a little bit. But you know the spiel, you're there. Shouts out to the troll in the chat too. Apparently we got welcome. Every single comment that y'all trolls make help the algorithm too. You help Al Gore get more rhythm. Do you want to really support helping Al Gore get more rhythm? If you do, then leave your comments there. Just don't be too terrible. I have a thick skin. I can handle it, Mr. Brelo, whatever. Unless you're talking about somebody else, but still. Oh man, imagine what he would have thought about me, you know, a year and a half, 2 years ago when I was 150 pounds lighter. Let's see this. The troll is on YouTube. Why do they never come to Twitch? I don't know. Maybe I'd say maybe gamers are less toxic, but that's not true. There are plenty of good gamers, but there are plenty of toxic gamers as well. So who knows? But of course, a lot of people who come here don't necessarily are gamers. Of course, you're atrocious at every game. So I'm sorry, that's Donald Trump's line. I almost stole his thunder.
It is what it is. Thank you,
Donald. So we love to nibble them. Don't give them the pleasure of nibbling the trolls. That's just wrong. So okay, we got Cosmic Rose, atrocious at every game, or Villaby over there on the Twitch chat currently. Thank you, Belfast Bob, for the $5 super chat. We eat yummy trolls scrumptious. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. I wonder what 5 pounds converts to over in America. Probably like, you know, 2 bits at this point with how Donald Trump's economy is treating us. But let's say give a shout out to as many people as we can. Whole bunch of people in the J Squad here, but you do have Rick Larson, Mandy, Josh, Jeff, let's see, Jackie, who else? Mike and Jen's Journey, good to see you. Janelle, Steve from across the pond.
If it's no Scottish, it's crap.
I guess Belfast Bob is also from across the pond too. Although he said Ireland, not Scotland, so I don't know if I can play one for you or not. Anyway, Teresa, good to see you, Teresa. I think I said hello to you before, but yes, good to see you. Petrazi, we're just going to keep on scrolling down if I miss Roxanne. Oh, Brelo retracted the message. What's up, Chad? Good to see you too. Good. I'm glad you're on the show, Chad, because I think you had wanted to not miss when I was going to talk about my taxes, and I still have a minor adjustment to do on my taxes because I forgot a few things. That being said, we're going to have a conversation about that. Or Broomer, good to see you. Tim, good to see you as well. Feel like I'm doing Romper Room right now. Did I see MTG guest hosting on the Young Turfs? No, I did not. Wow. We might have to cover that Wednesday. Because we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Actually, you know, usually Monday shows are jam-packed with everything. And I wasn't going to be as jam-packed because, again, I thought I was going to have to worry about starting super duper late. Again, because my laptop was giving me reboot issues again. And I was talking to my wife earlier today because it's related to the taxes, but I was talking about my laptop, and I was like, the laptop hasn't been giving me problems for a very long time. And I was like, and I probably just jinxed myself. And then I spent about a half an hour before today's show trying to make sure to get the laptop. It wasn't working. I was restarting it. Powering it off completely and turning it back on is what fixes it, which, as an IT guy, as a software development guy, whenever fully shutting something down and rebooting it back off, turning it off and turning it back on again, whenever that works, it just bugs me because it's so cliche. It's so cliche. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? But I turned it all the way down and turned it back on again, and it worked. Of course, that doesn't work with everything. Like if you're having a disagreement with your significant other, I don't recommend turning your significant other off just to try to get them to get turned on again, because it's not going to work.
Oh my.
Anyway, and I actually literally told somebody at work today, one of my friends who I work with at my new job, because I got her a job as well. She was like, I can't get this software. This software won't work. And I was like, well, have you tried shutting it off, closing it and reopening it again? No. Try that. It worked. I'm like, and of course now she's going to laugh because that's what solved my problem too. Hey, Jolie, good to see you. So, Cosmic, I have learned to restart daily. See, I thought I had powered it down all the way. Like, I powered down the laptop. Every single time I'm done with the show, I power the laptop down so to not leave it in a situation where it's like hanging, or, maybe there's a memory issue, memory leak or something in some piece of code, just, nope. I turned it all down. So I thought I turned it all off and whatever, but there was still a problem. So, imagine if Biden suggested turning the economy off and turning it back on to fix it. Well, has anybody actually tried that? Have an automatic reset? But still.
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, homemongers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Oh, you retracted your old message and you got a worse message, Brilo? Come on, man. You could. This is why Donald Trump said he loved the poorly educated, because those are the people that support him, and they can't come up with anything clever. So, oh, you're gay. Why? Are you jealous, Brilo? Are you jealous? Do you wish that you were my gay lover? Do you wish that, you want to get caught with me?
Oh my.
Come on, Brilo. Do better. Use some intellect. Raise your game a little bit. Be smart. Be intelligent while trying to be fun. If you could at least be intelligent, I wouldn't have to mock you. If you made an intelligent quip, I would probably give you applause for it. I'd probably laugh at it. But now I'm just laughing at you. So, Bobble Black, did you not listen to Lonely Island? Lonely Island clearly said it's not gay if it's a three-way in one of their songs, right? So, come on, bruh. Never taken anybody to Paris? Maybe that should be something. That's another funny comment to make. So, I'm going to let Jolie have her fun with Brilo. I don't want to take all of the whatever. A trusted every game says, so I'm gay, we're all liberal here, so I know that there's nothing wrong with being gay, even from a theological perspective, but what does he have to bring to your wife anyway? That's messed up. I don't know. Maybe he saw a picture of her and thought, man, she's hot. Maybe he thinks, ooh, I can get her away from liberal Dan, or whatever. Anyway, but this is funny because I was at dinner with some friends last night. We all went out to dinner, and it was one of my friends I hadn't seen since like Halloween or whatever. A bunch of gaming friends. We were all playing some board games. We went out, got some curry. It was really good. It very much curried favored with me. That was another funny part of the story too. Was simply when I looked at the waiter, and I asked the waiter, I was like, "Oh, do me a favor, please make the lamb curry extra spicy." And he looked at me like. And I was like, I may look translucent, but my taste buds and my flavor palette like a nice kick. I told him a story about how when I was back in Baltimore, I had this Chinese place that we would get food from a bunch of times, and we would our General Tso's chicken was one of my favorite dishes is General Tso's chicken, and I ordered it extra spicy, and I got it, and it was very flavorful. Don't get me wrong, it was very flavorful, but it was not spicy at all one bit. And then so the next time we ordered from the place, because again, it was tasty, it just needed more heat. I said, extra, extra spicy. And nothing. No, it wasn't spicy at all. Again, they're probably sitting there thinking, here's this American guy, has no idea what he wants. We're just going to give him the dish. Okay, so the next time, it was flavorful. It was well prepared. It just wasn't spicy enough for my liking. So then the next time we called in, I was giving the order and I was like, all right, for the General Tso's chicken, I want it extra, 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 super spicy. I mean spicy, really spicy. I like it spicy, spicy. I got it. It was freaking amazing. It was, and so I knew how to order from that restaurant now. Apparently, if I go to like a restaurant that serves like, you know, curries and type of stuff, if I say it like make it Desi style, or whatever, that's also another way for me to say it now, because we had one of my friends, one of my gamer friends is Pakistani, and he was like, he ordered it, and it was so good. But again, I couldn't eat it all because the Zepbound makes me not as hungry, so I had a nice little spicy lunch for today as well. Had whatchamacallit, friend of mine, we're sitting there chatting, and, you know, a bunch of us just all make, you know, just the, you know, that's what she said type jokes or whatever. I made some other comment, and she was cracking up, and then we were talking about my podcast, and her literal words, after never having watched my podcast at all one bit, was, "You should do a Liberal Dan After Dark show." And I was like, funny you mentioned that, because it was in the works, and it still is in the works. It just, lots of stuff got in the way with like me having to find a new job. And so I was like, what are the odds that somebody would literally say, you should do what you're planning on doing? So anyway, as a Trumpy boy says,
It is what it is.
but yeah, exactly. I was dying. I was cracking up at the whole idea. Brilo, I have never once eaten a Snickers upside down. Are you recommending it to me? Are you speaking from experience that that's the best way to eat a Snickers? Of course, your message is retracted again. I'm just kind of fun, like poking the troll. I mean, like, you know, it's not a original comment. It's not original at all. Like that's something that I've heard like many, many times. Like, be creative. You must have some brain capacity, because you can actually turn on whatever device you're using and you're actually typing into it, and your words are spelled, I guess, correctly most of the time, right? So why not? Anyway, we're having fun with him. Happy jurors awarded Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, the comedian, as opposed to Bill Cosby, the other Bill Cosby. $19.25 million to former waitress Donna Motzinger, who said he drugged and attacked her. Good for them. I did see that. Let's see. General Tso is is Americanized dish. I forget exactly the history of it or whatever. So, Cosmic Rose, let's turn dumpy off. I think you met Trump, right? I thought you were talking about this guy first, but no, you're talking about turning off. But I don't think there's any fixing of Donald Trump. There's no turning him off and turning back on again. Anyway. Let's see. Were they called Marathon before Snicker in the U.S. or only these parts? I'm not sure. I think it was always Snickers. I don't know. Hurry back, Jeff. Let's see. Trying to see if I've missed anything. Off is fixed. Well, that's us hoping for natural causes to take place, right? And we'll be talking about that with Trump and that in a wee little bitty bit as well. Let's see. What do we want to talk about first? So we do have the news, I guess. How Mark Mullen was advanced to succeed Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, taking a step forward, restoring stability at the department. Yeah, how is that restoring All right, The Hill. How is that restoring stability? I mean, the department was not stable under Kristi Noem. It's not stable once Kristi Noem left, and it's not stable now that Mark Mullen has taken control, or will be taking control. The Senate vote was 54-37 to advance Mullen, setting up a final vote on his nomination Monday or Tuesday. Well, that was, I guess, from yesterday, so I don't know if it was. I guess that overdid the filibuster or whatever. But again, you had John Fetterman who voted yes, and then you had Rand Paul who obviously voted no. Fetterman says that he backs Mullen's nomination because he sees him as an improvement over Noam. That's a very, very low bar. I mean, that's a ridiculously low bar. An improvement over Noam is like, you know, saying that the rice cakes with some salt on them are a better flavor than the rice cakes without salt on them. Like, yes, it might be an improvement, but an improvement from what? Nothing. That's right. Kristi Noem was if Kristi Noem's leadership was at a 0, Markwayne Mullins is twice as good. So we must reopen DHS. Was DHS closed, Fetterman? I really think, you know, I was more than happy to say that, you know, somebody who had the issues that he had medically should be given an opportunity to show that they have, you know, their full capacities or whatever. But clearly he does not have the full capacity. Also, Senator Martin Heinrich of New Mexico also voted to advance Mullen on Saturday. Heinrich, in a statement, called Mullen a friend and said he would not get bullied by White House advisors who favor a hard line on immigration enforcement. Sure, let's see how long that lasts. If he's actually correct and doesn't see Mullen as being able to get bullied by the White House, you've been fooled. You've been hoodwinked. You've been, you know, completely, you know, misled. Led down the primrose path, so to speak, or whatever. This is going to surprise some people, but I consider Markwayne Mullin a friend. We have a very honest and constructive working relationship. I mean, I'm sure you did in the Senate. Maybe not so much now that he's going to be somebody that has to report to the Senate, and I'm sure you'll be admitting your mistake sometime soon. So, yeah. Senator Peter Welch praised Mullen as competent and honest, suggested Mullen's confirmation could open way to more productive talks. Yeah, whatever. There's no way that people can actually say these words and believe them. So if I saw Noam at a bar, I'd say something worse than I already know. I'd have to be like, yo, what's up, dog? Oh, wait, sorry. Too soon. Anyway. Didn't Heinrich knife Biden in the back? Fuck him himself. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember, but I don't know what the heck that is. Oh, okay. I see what it is now. I'm looking at the streak notification on my Twitch thing where Cosmic Rose had her streak, and I was like, what's DeWanda Farr? That's just the name of the sticker, I guess. So, yes, RIP Cricket. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about today before we get to some of the other stuff that we're going to talk about? Let's see. GOP lawmakers want to create a statewide list of trans people based on medical information. The bill would punish Tennessee doctors who refuse to report patients getting gender-affirming care. The proposed law in Tennessee could result in trans residents' private medical information being made available to the public, potentially exposing them to harassment. Earlier this week, Republicans in the Tennessee House voted to advance HB 754, according to independent journalist Alexandra Vaca. The bill, similar to one passed in Texas last year and another awaiting Utah Governor's Spencer Cox's signature, ostensibly requires trans people seeking insurance coverage for gender-affirming care to also purchase coverage for detransitioning care. As Vaca notes, the burdensome requirement is likely to drive up healthcare costs for trans folks in Tennessee. Unlike the Texas and Utah laws, HB 754 also mandates the healthcare providers report statistics regarding all gender transition procedures. So this is not, again, I've had debates like Nick Driver, the guy who I did the first 2 episodes of the Liberal Dan Radio Political Tower of Power. I did a debate on his channel, and there were 2 other people who I'm glad to hear that he's not actually involved with anymore politically or when it comes to doing stuff, because they were horrible people. They were terrible. But they were pushing this idea that, you know, oh, it's about children. It's not about adults. Adults can do whatever they want. Jeff Carrere, the Ringside Politics show that I usually play clips from, he's always like, I don't care if you're an adult. You do whatever you want with your child. Don't do it as your kid. Of course, trans kids aren't transitioning. There's no bottom surgery being done for kids to transition, and it's very rare that you'll see somebody getting a top procedure, and it's only in very extreme, rare circumstances, and it very could well be hooked to other, you know, issues with, like, you know, having a reduction. Like, for example, if you're having back pains, like I know somebody who is a cis woman who had breast reduction when she was in high school simply because of the fact that they were just too large and they were hurting her back, so she needed a procedure to help with the pain on her back, which is, reasonable. But then again, all these conservative policies have side effects that will often hurt people other than the intended people who they say that they want to go after. Like, for example, in Texas, we spoke about, the other week, how the Texas bill or law that prevents puberty blockers from being given to giving affirmative care to young trans kids has also worked to stop young kids with precocious puberty to not be able to get the needed medicine that they have to get in order to prevent that precocious puberty from taking place, because you don't want precocious puberty taking place. You want to delay puberty until it actually needs to happen. And now there are people in Texas who have to move and leave Texas to go to another state in order to get their own children the care that they need, which just goes to show you that they really don't give a shit. It's not about just trans kids. It's about being cruel and evil and terrible. And of course, the Attorney General Paxton assumes that any time a person, at least this is how I'm viewing it, any time that a person is giving this to a kid, and if they're claiming that it's to stop precocious puberty, he's basically saying that's just BS, that they're just lying in order to get around the law. But fuck you, because there are legitimate kids who need these puberty blockers who are not being able to get them because of your stupid fucking laws. So, but now in this case, this is not about kids. This is about adults. Adults, they're going to take the information of adults and put it in, I guess, some registry. What could go wrong? What could go wrong with that, huh? Only, creating lists of people so that you could later, go round them all up. People used to tell me that I was ridiculous and crazy for thinking that we were going to be marching down this Nazi path once we started down the Nazi path, and guess what? We are doing it. They're going to keep pushing it. They're going to keep pushing it. They're going to keep trying and trying to punish people. If they were really pro-life, they would want to do whatever it is it could to help people be alive. And sometimes people need transitioning to be alive. But not one is happening under the age of 18. In fact, most clinics, if they start doing things like bottom surgery and actual surgical transitions to older trans teens, like 18 or 19-year-old, you can't do it at 18 because the clinic will want you to be on hormone therapy for at least a year. So the youngest you'll most likely be able to get transitioning care as a young trans person is going to be 19 years of age after you had 1 year's worth of hormones. But these people don't care about facts. These people don't care about the actual world. They want to build these straw man worlds and tear them down for political gain because they can make hay politically by making sure to other a bunch of people that are in the minority so they can use that for political gain and not actually, give a shit about what actually happens to them afterwards, which absolutely fucking blows. So, what else? We had a conversation the last week, I think it was last week, about parade goers, some people who were riding on a parade float in a Metairie St. Patrick's Day parade. Metairie is a suburb of New Orleans. It's in Jefferson Parish, which is just one parish over. For those of you who don't know, a parish is the same thing as a county. We're just strange in Louisiana and have to have parishes instead of having, counties. But that's because of the Catholic nature of much of Louisiana. At least, there's lots of Catholicism down here. Up northern Louisiana is more Protestant evangelical types, and there are plenty of Protestant evangelical types around New Orleans as well, but still it's more Catholic down here. And I did show the photo, and of course Jefferson Parish President and Jewish community groups have condemned the repeated gestures by float riders who were banned from the parade for life. And now a woman is receiving threatening phone calls hours after a video she posted went viral showing float riders appearing to make Nazi salutes during the St. Patrick's Day parade. The riders' gestures on Sunday drew a swift response from Jefferson Parish and parade officials and condemnation from local Jewish community groups. I mean, you would hope that it would draw condemnation from every group and not just Jewish groups, but We're the ones who have to be loud about it first and to get people to listen, right? The woman who is not identified in a police report and asked to not be identified when contacted Thursday by WWL told police that she began to receive several phone calls from a blocked number around 9:30 p.m. on Sunday. While the parade happened in Jefferson Parish, the police report was filed in New Orleans on Monday because the woman who posted the video lives in New Orleans and received the calls while at home. The police report says the woman stated she answered the phone, heard boys laughing and threatening to hurt her, along with other threats being made. In the video, 3 male foot riders made gestures that resemble a Nazi salute. While the riders appear young, their ages are not clear. Video was recorded by Dominic Graves, who was at the parade with his girlfriend and her family. All of a sudden, we hear HH, and then girlfriend points up, look up top, notice a bunch of young men doing the Nazi salutes. We immediately got really upset. Well, as one should whenever one sees Nazi salutes. And of course, a bunch of people on Facebook all over the place were being like, well, it could have been a Roman salute. I'm like, fuck off. No, you're ridiculous. So, yeah. So now you have people getting threatening phone calls because they wanted to report the truth, i.e. and share the idea that, whatever. Yeah, fuck off, Brelo. Nobody's lying. Let's see. Oh, I did want to play this first. I forgot to play this first, but before we talked about anything. But there is, if you remember, hold on. If you remember, a while ago, or I spoke about how I had created Liberal Dan's Chopper City. Liberal Dan's Chopper City is a hold on, let's go back here a second and come on, show them all. There you go. Why is it not? Why is everything being so stupid today? I want to get the actual one. Let's just go to playlist. We can do it that way. That should have been on one of the first ones. There we go. So I want to show the first Chopper City because I want to be able to. Is that? Oh, it is the post-Sturgis blowout. So during COVID, during COVID-19, we had they held Sturgis in San Diego, South Dakota. They held Sturgis in South Dakota, the big motorcycle festival. Everybody comes in, and I was like, this is going to be a super spreader event, and people are going to die, and there's going to be a lot of people who's going to no longer have need of their motorcycles because they're going to be dead and not be able to ride them. So I came up with this idea of a fictional establishment called Liberal Dan Radio's Chopper City, or Liberal Dan's Chopper City. And we started off the first one with the post-Sturgis sale. And all of these videos are available on liberaldanradio.com. And one of my biggest things that I liked about this audio is when I played it for Hal, he laughed. So I appreciate the fact that he that Hal, I was able to make Hal laugh with a joke of mine. So thank you, Marie, for gifting 5 Liberal Dan memberships. Thank you so much. Mike and Jenny got one. Petrazi got one. Joseph and Winnie got one. I love it when the people who are currently in the chat get one. But here is the first Liberal Dan's Chopper City with the post-Sturgis sale.
Woo dog, down here in Liberal Dan's Chopper City, we got some steals on Harley Davidsons today. Turns out holding Sturgis wasn't that bright of an idea, but while festival goers pass away, we're passing on the savings to you. All our Harleys come freshly sanitized for your riding comfort, and while supplies last, we're throwing in some antibacterial gel and a 12-pack of 2-ply, just in case the stores run out again. So come on down to Liberal Dan's Chopper City and get you a hog today. Liberal Dan Chopper City is a fictional establishment, and we don't know what the death toll of Sturgis will be.
So there's that. There's Liberal Dan's Chopper City.
Liberal Dan.
Hold on. Oh, this is the next one. I guess we can do a bunch of them if we want. The next one is Chopper City ad number 2.
Woo doggy, Liberal Dan Chopper City is back, and we had such a large surplus of choppers after 2 years of Sturgis during COVID, it was dragging our prices down to insane levels. So we took a cue from Big Oil. We scrapped and melted down half of them to artificially reduce supply, increasing our bottom line. And in light of Dobbs v. Jackson, we're turning them into wire hangers. So with every chopper you buy, you get a 12-pack of hangers absolutely free. Share them with your friends, especially in the red states. Liberal Dan Chopper City is a fictional establishment. Do not use wire hangers for healthcare.
So, and then the third one.
Woo doggy, Liberal Dan Chopper City is back with a brand new deal on Harley Davidsons for you. In light of the FBI getting a search warrant to seize boxes of documents that Donald Trump had stored in Mar-a-Lago, Liberal Dan Chopper City is having a brand new special. Every chopper will come with a coupon for 12 pounds of butter, and that coupon will be emailed directly to you. We're calling it our Butter Email Special. Liberal Dan Chopper City is a fictional establishment, and you should have voted for Hillary Clinton.
This is a song.
We're gonna not listen to the ad because we don't need to listen to ads. And if I don't even remember the this one was a joke from a country singer comment that they made.
Woo dog! Liberal Dan Chopper City is back with another amazing deal for you. We've cut prices on all of last year's models, and in light of the recent Jason Aldean controversy, if you live in a town with a population under 50,000 and buy any of our models, we'll throw in a dozen bags of potatoes and a 10-gallon jug of cooking oil. We're calling it the Fry That in a Small Town Special. Hurry before supplies run out. So come down to Liberal Dan Chopper City and buy you a chopper today. Liberal Dan Chopper City is a fictional establishment, and according to my oldest son, French fries are a gift.
Yeah. So one time, little story about that joke was simply the fact that
I take
it. Stop. No, we're not. We don't want to play that one yet. My youngest son was saying something about how he didn't want to eat French fries, and my oldest son was like, "But French fries are a gift." And I was like, "Well, you're right about that. French fries may very well be a gift, but I played you a couple of those. There's still a couple more left." That you could watch if you want to watch them. Yes, Bob LeBanc, fry that in a small town. Exactly. That was the joke that I made. So I'm glad you caught it. So yes, the butter emails the special as well. So yes. But yeah, so because of the whole AI renaissance to Liberal Dan Radio, not only do I have the audio for Liberal Dan's Chopper City, but now I have a video commercial for Liberal Dan's Chopper City as well. So we are going to flip on over this one. This one, again, is also available on liberaldanradio.com. And, all right, I guess I should put myself not being in the middle of it so you can actually watch it. And here we go. Here's the new Liberal Dan's Chopper City ad, with video created by AI.
Liberal Dan's Chopper City is back with another amazing deal for you. Tariffs are up, gas is skyrocketing, and the price of meat is so high even Willie Nelson is jealous. So for every chopper you buy from Liberal Dan's Chopper City, we're going to throw in a case of all kinds of meat, including bratwurst, liverwurst, and knockwurst. We're calling it the America Wurst Special. Hurry before supplies run out. So head on down to Liberal Dan's Chopper City and buy you a chopper today. Liberal Dan's Chopper City is a fictional establishment, and with Donald Trump as president, we may already be the worst.
There you go. So, Liberal Dan's Chopper City, and that's the new video for Liberal Dan's Chopper City. Bob was like, "Get to the chopper, do it now!" Of course, when Arnold was saying chopper, he was saying like chopper, and not like the whatchamacallit. Thank you, Joseph Winnie, for the laugh of that. Appreciate you. His get to the chopper was actually get to the helicopter, not get to the motorcycle, but still. And it was funny because it first didn't have the Willie Nelson line, but when I recorded the audio, it wasn't 30 seconds. So I was like, I need it to be 30 seconds. So I was like, what can I throw in there? Like, the price of gasoline is so high, or price of meat's getting so high. I was like, ooh, it's making Willie Nelson jealous. That's got to work. So anyway, man, nobody's made a comment on Twitch in a second. I hope Twitch is actually still streaming. I mean, it looks like it is. So anyway. But anyway, there will be more and more. Luck Dragon, that needs 1 million views. Well, there's one way for y'all to do that. share the fuck out of it. Make sure to share it to every one of your social media channels and make sure that everyone knows. Atrocious at every game. I'm multitasking. Multitasking during my show? Do you imagine what would happen if Biden was multitasking?
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Wait. Chad goes, I'm not going to lie, that last one was pretty clever. What, you didn't like Fry That in a Small Town? Or the Butter email special? Or the one about being post-Sturgis? Or even the wire hangers? You didn't like all those? I thought all of them were clever. But, hey, I'm biased, right? Anyway, so let's... What next to talk about? Oh, let's talk about this one. Where is it? Donald Trump is obsessed with windmills. I don't know what Donald Trump's problem is with windmills. Like, I get it. I mean, the song says it. He doesn't want to see them while golfing on Scottish hills because they want to put them next to his resort in Scotland or whatever. But he's just obsessed with not having windmills. He's like, I pledge that we're not going to have any windmills or whatever. Today, my throat's not wanting to do a good Trump imitation. Not that I ever do a really good one, but that one was a really bad one. But Trump administration to pay French company $1 billion to drop U.S. offshore wind leases. He's spending $1 billion of our tax funds to pay a French company, not even in America, a French company to walk away from 2 U.S. offshore wind leases as the administration ramps up its campaign against offshore wind and other renewable energy. Total Energies has agreed to what is essentially a refund of its leases for projects off the coast of North Carolina and New York and will invest the money in fossil fuel projects instead. What? The Trump administration is trying to halt offshore wind construction, but federal judges overturned those orders. Environmental groups denounced the Total Energies deal as a way to block wind projects. President Donald Trump has gone all in on fossil fuels, which he says is the way to lower costs for families, increase reliability, blah, blah, blah. But he is just completely obsessed with these windmills. It shows that he just has no fucking sense whatsoever. He's lost his ever-loving fucking mind.
A modern Don Quixote, he hates the windmills, claiming to protect the birds and whales he says they kill. But don't believe that story, it's really just a shill. He just did not want to see them while golfing on Scottish hills.
I mean, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's like herpes. Donald Trump is the herpes of American presidents. But can you imagine what might have happened if, like, President Biden was like, I'm going to stop producing, oil, and instead I'm going to refund and pay these companies to not drill for oil. I'm going to give them your tax dollars for them to not drill for oil.
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
He doesn't know the difference between a windmill and a turbine. Of course he doesn't. But, that's Donald Trump, because we elected a poorly educated individual to be president of these United States. So, the only bad thing I can say about offshore windmills is they by far are the most expensive form of electricity. But expensive how? Expensive in the short term or expensive in the long term? Because in the short term, it requires additional investment. Of course, if we created more and more wind farms, we might be able to reduce the cost overall of manufacturing them, and which would make the production of the wind farms and of each individual turbine, it would make each individual turbine much cheaper. Good English on my part. Meanwhile, what are the effects of oil? Well, we just saw that there is an oil spill that took place in Louisiana that was making potentially ruining oyster beds and shrimp farmers. You know, the white shrimp that season would start right away. So people are losing income that way. You then have to pay to clean it up. You have the loss of lives that take place when, you know, you have oil rigs that explode like the Deepwater Horizon oil well. You have the environmental damage that has to be repaired as you're using fossil fuels, etc. So, you know, are you really counting up every single price of using fossil fuels when in reality you're not, if you're not counting those things, those costs that come after the fact. So plenty of things that are not included in the price of oil and gas to make it seem cheaper when we probably don't have enough information to say exactly what the overall costs are going to be. Of course, the overall costs overall may very well be the death of the planet, but still, many conservatives will say, that's ridiculous, don't be ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. But still, you know, pollution is a bad thing. Let's see, what else? The sea salt makes them wear out super fast. Is that a true statement? How quickly does sea salt make offshore turbines need replacing? Let's see. Sea salt combined with high humidity winds accelerates the corrosion, typically reducing their lifespan to 18 to 25 years without major refurbishment, while it designed for a 20 to 25-year life in salt degradation. Can premature structural repairs such as blades and steel tower components in as little as 12 to 15 years. So that math doesn't really math. Okay, fine. So it takes a few years off of the life of the windmill as compared to the other ones that are not offshore. So, but I mean, Trump doesn't want them anywhere. He doesn't want them offshore. He doesn't want them onshore. He doesn't like green eggs and ham. He does not like them. I do not like windmills and turbines. I only do like concubines. I would not like them on the shore. I would not like them, I don't know, good or word that doesn't go on Liberal Dan Radio after dark. I would not like them here nor there. I do not like them anywhere. Anyway, so I got a little better with that one, I guess. I don't know. If we started in earnest in the 70s and 80s, we'd be there now. Exactly. And that's the thing. You need to continue to work on these technologies to make them better and cheaper and, you know, probably, and work out the kinks, so to speak, to make sure that, you know, you can have ones that maybe last longer and maybe, you know, can be put in good places where they don't, you know, do all the things that we don't like that they do. For both fossil and renewable, we should stay out of the ocean. That's never going to happen because they're going to keep drilling. They're going to drill, baby. We want to drill, baby, drill. Of course, I think Donald Trump claimed that he was the creator of the drill, baby, drill line when that was Sarah frickin' Palin. I mean, he can't even let a woman have, even a conservative woman have her own, you know, saying for herself. He has to steal that too. You know, I'm not sitting here defending Sarah Palin by any stretch of the imagination, although I think defending Ted Cruz was enough for this month of me defending a conservative. So, Trump doesn't like renewables because there's no middleman to skim the money from. The wind and the sun are free and don't have lobbyists. That's accurate. I don't like that I can't make my money off of it. If he could figure out a way to make money with the windmills, he would absolutely be 100% on board the windmill technology. So, caravan was the bestest word he invented. Yeah. No one ever heard the term caravan before I was president. It's ridiculous. He's so fucking stupid. Roxanne is going to make all of us green eggs and ham. So, China is not green, only potential. Wait, what? So, yeah, anyway. What else do we have? So again, make sure to share the Liberal Dan's Chopper City videos or whatever. There's something that I did want to talk about. I don't know why I didn't put it over the other way like I usually do. So I saw this video. The other day. Somebody shared it, and I shared it. I shared the video to. Let me record this one. I think this one's better off being recorded. I saw this video the other day, and I shared it to my Facebook page, Liberal Dan Radio, all over social media. If you want to find me on a particular social media site, try Liberal Dan Radio. It's probably that. So I see this video, and I was like, is this artificial intelligence? Is this AI? Because I'm having a hard time believing that these words are coming out of this person's mouth. And this person is George W. Bush. And I was like, what? So this is only a 3-minute and 20-second clip. So let's play this. If you haven't seen it yet, let's play this George W. Bush clip and see what old W has to say.
Let's move on to this gentleman. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Jaywin Singh Malhi, and I'm a freshman from Garland, Texas. My question for you is that you've often differed from members of your own party in your views on immigration.
Yeah.
In the upcoming decade, what, if any, significant progress in immigration reform do you predict?
Great question. Now, first, I not only differ from my party, but people in the other party too, just so you know. Like, the reason immigration reform died wasn't just because of one party. It's because people were nervous about a populism that started to emerge. My view is that we are a land of immigrants, and we ought to recognize that. As a matter of fact, I believe America's soul is rejuvenated when people come to our country and work hard.
What? What? Like, I get his dad, and there's the video between his dad and Ronald Reagan in their debate when they're talking and being reasonable about stuff too. But I don't think anybody was questioning whether or not George H.W. Bush was intelligent, nor were they constantly they were having him, and he was trying to claim, oh, compassionate conservatism or whatever. But nobody really believed that he was a compassionate conservative. And then he's saying this. I'm like, what? Let's continue.
Realize dreams. There is an orderly way to have immigration, and that is to recognize people are coming here to do jobs Americans aren't doing, or are not capable of doing, or unwilling to do. And we ought to have a process that enables people to come and do those jobs. It's good for our economy. I think it's, and I think it prevents people from having to sneak in. There are laborers who do jobs people won't do, but there are also incredibly bright students who come. And I think it is a foolhardy policy to limit the number of workers that could contribute, for example, to the productivity of the United States in the internet world. I do believe there will be a rational immigration policy eventually passed. I think that.
Well, I mean, that was an incorrect, statement, because clearly what we're going through now, but still, like, where was this George W. Bush during his presidency? Otherwise he has the reading the book upside down and fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, never get fooled again. Like, that George W. Bush, it was what we had to deal with. This George W. Bush, I mean, maybe it's just through the lens of what we have now in Donald Trump, and like comparing, maybe he was this, but compared to what we had previous to this, it's, we were like, oh, this guy's a maroon. But compared to Trump, like, and it gets better. Like,
there's going to have to be some time. What's interesting about our country, if you study history, is that there are some isms that occasionally pop up. One is isolationism, and it's evil twin protectionism, and it's evil triplet nativism. So if you study the 20s, for example.
I mean, those are some big words for what we knew as George W. Bush.
There was...
Or remember, shoe me once, shoe me twice, can't fool me again, you're out of shoes.
There was
I was impressed that he was able to dodge those shoes. I mean, that was pretty impressive.
An American First policy that said, who cares what happens in Europe? Well, what happened in Europe mattered eventually because of World War II. There was Smoot-Hawley, which was a part of an economic policy, which basically said we don't want trade. In other words, let's throw up barriers. And there was an immigration policy that
Did you expect George W. Bush to start talking about Smoot-Hawley and like, what?
Think during this period argued we had too many Jews and too many Italians, therefore we should have no immigrants. And my point to you is we've been through this kind of period of isolationism, protectionism, nativism. I'm a little concerned that we may be going through the same period. I hope that these isms pass.
Well, they did not.
which would then allow for a more orderly look at immigration policy. But look, I was raised in Texas, and you know, there's a lot of focus on the Hispanic population. I mean, if you're raised in Texas, you understand what it means to interface with Mexican Americans who are Texan, and you realize that we share the same values: faith, family, you know, hard work, commitment to service, and I think we ought to welcome people from different cultures to America. The great thing about America is we ought to be confident in knowing that everybody becomes an American, and we share the same value system. In other words, there's a great capacity for our society to assimilate people.
Now look, I don't believe you have to come here and actually everybody has to be an American. I'm not supporting of that comment specifically, because you can come here and you can just be a legal permanent resident and not have to gain citizenship. It's completely fine for somebody to come here and declare asylum and be a legal permanent resident and just stay that way, and as long as you're not committing any crimes, you're fine. But still, like, this Republican is this part of the Republican Party. I mean, yeah, he even said he differs from some members of his own party, but here's rational, like, well-spoken and thoughtful words coming from this guy. Now, again, I don't know if it's because, it's actually those things or we're just comparing them. And yes, I saw in the chat, Bald Thanos, he's referencing Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I almost made a Ferris Bueller's Day Off joke. I understand that. Raised or lowered? Raised. Maybe he watched, a lot of Ben Stein, Win Ben Stein's Money too, or just liked Ben Stein, or because Ben Stein was Nixon's speechwriter or whatever, one of his speechwriters. So, but yeah, maybe he watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off enough. But still, that's still even talking about the other stuff. And he's talking about, fighting these isms, and, talking about how, the America First policy was seen as a terrible thing. It was a failure. But yet we're doing the same mistake again. And this is coming from former President George W. Bush. So it's crazy. Let's see. Did you know if you Google Library Dan instead of Liberal Dan, it takes you to a right-wing website that spells MAGA wrong? Let's try that. Is it what Dan read? I don't know. I see what Dan read. I don't see I don't know. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. You're kidding. Fair enough. You did get me. What else? His wife is of Mexico. Yeah, there are what was it George H.W. Bush says? Some of my family is a Mexican. Is that what George H.W. Bush said? Actually, George H.W. Bush sounded less intelligent than his son in that particular one, comparing the debates or whatever. So what's going on, Big Hook? Good to see you. Let's see. What else? Let's do this one. Shall we? Let's do this one. What old... we can stop recording at that one. We don't need to record the whole thing. What old Donnie Boy had to say. One of the things, at least, that old Donnie Boy... No, that's not what we want to watch.
I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs.
It's my favorite word, other than the N-word. What N-word? I don't know.
We can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are two N-words, and you can't use either of them.
Anyway, let's continue.
Which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us. But not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't...
I was about to pause it there. At levels we've never seen before, because I forgot that was in this video too. But, of course, it's almost everywhere, with records we've never seen.
Seen AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it.
Never, nothing like it, like no one's ever seen.
1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Welcome to the hottest country in the world. It's America. Hey, hey.
And that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months.
At least in front of your face, maybe behind their back, they're like, can you believe this guy? He believes what we tell him. He's so gullible. If I tell him that we took gullible out of dictionary, he believe it too. Anyway.
Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. I've secured a record.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about that, shall we? Let's talk about the largest tax rate. He was telling in another post, he was like that many Americans will see tax refunds of 20% or more. Well, I did my taxes over the weekend finally, and actually I have some minor tweaks that I have to do because I remembered that I forgot to throw in a couple of purchases that are write-offs, so I need to go back in there and do that. But as we stand right now, last year, for the 2024 tax season, last year, my tax refund was $4,000. Why? Lots of reasons why. But one of the reasons was I was over withholding, clearly. So I decided that when I did my withholding on my taxes for the 2025, year, that I would stop the extra withholding, because before I was afraid that I was not withholding enough, and as such I would need to make sure that I don't want to have to pay into the government too much. I wanted to make sure that I could, try and hit it right on the head or whatever, but I couldn't quite figure out how to make it so that I was only making, so that I wasn't, getting right at zero. So I was anticipating that this year, maybe my tax refund might be about $2,500 instead of like $4,000 or whatever, or maybe $2,000, not $4,000, but still something, because I wasn't able to figure out exactly, again, how to drop it back down enough in a safe way where I wouldn't have to pay an exorbitant amount of money out of my ass this year. So I start doing my taxes, start looking at everything. You owe $94. What? So I looked at my actual adjusted gross income, even though I had a slight pay increase between 2024 and 2025. My adjusted gross income went down because the pay increase was not enough to cover the increase in health insurance premiums that I had to pay. But that would bring down my taxable income too, right? So I'm like, all right, so maybe I'll still owe fewer taxes, but even though my taxable income went down, my taxes didn't really go down by a commensurate rate. And there's a tax credit that I don't get anymore. Why? Why don't I get this tax credit? The tax credit that I don't get is because for some stupid reason, and this is both parties that are blamed for this particular one. This is not a particularly specifically Donald Trump issue. This is everybody's a fucking stupid idiot issue, except for Biden for 1 year. During COVID, they raised the age by 1 year. If the child tax credit only goes for kids under 17. Not under 18, but under 17. You cannot write off. Well, when most things tax credit wise, like if you're that part in the beginning of the year or whatever, you get to write the kid off. So for example, I get to write the kid, he was born in December. So as such, I got to include him for the entirety of the tax year. But for conservatives, they should have no problem with that because pregnant the entire year, right? Pregnancy costs that are involved with that. So not a big deal. Shouldn't be a big deal. So yeah, because my son turned 17 in December of last year, I no longer qualify for that full child tax credit. I get like $500 or something instead of the whole like $2,200. So it's one of the reasons why it went down. But even without that, my refund still didn't go up 20% like Donald Trump said it would. So, and look, anecdotes are not total complete proof or whatever, and he didn't say that everybody would be getting one, but again, it's just he's probably never filed for taxes at all in his life. I mean, we haven't seen all of his tax returns or whatever, but he's never had to sit down and actually do his taxes, and I doubt he understands the idea of, oh, well, if somebody changes what they withhold, it doesn't matter what their tax rate is because that's going to affect their refund more than tax policy might. So what you get back at the end of the year, or what you have to pay at the end of the year, has to do a lot with what you withhold. But just goes to show that somebody who's never had to handle this type of thing in his life, because I'm sure he always paid other people to handle his taxes for him, and we all know who he paid because he in an anti-Semitic way said who he wants handling his money versus who he doesn't want handling his money, because he perpetuated that anti-Semitic trope about Jews being good with money. But yeah, he was wrong, as I predicted that he would be wrong. And I was even more proven right in the fact that it wasn't just what I'd reduced from my withholding that caused it to be that much different. It was the current tax policy under the big beautiful bill made it drop even further. He could have fixed that 17-year-old thing that included anybody who is a minor as somebody being worthy of the child tax credit. He didn't. But again, it doesn't affect him because he doesn't have Barron's over 18 at this point, right? So he doesn't give a shit about that, right? So again, I was again right that Donald Trump's statement on how taxes would, tax refunds would go up would be absolutely based on his not understanding of how things work. So you could just put that in the chart of things Liberal Dan said that turned out to be absolutely 100% correct. Simple as that. Yeah, or Willoughby, a $39 trillion in debt. He wanted little guys with yarmulkes touching his money. Yes, he didn't want black people touching his money. He wanted the guys with the yarmulkes touching his money. Because, again, perpetuating the anti-Semitic trope of Jews being good with money. According to the Tax Foundation, average tax returns are up 11% across the board, with 100% of senior citizens seeing an increase closer to 20%. Again, it's not families, it's senior citizens. Anecdotally, I had to pay $800 less than that. I don't know what that means. So, but yeah. So again, what did you say? It was the Tax Foundation, average tax returns up 11%. Let's see. So Tax Foundation based on early 2026 IRS data. Here's the thing. How can you judge it off of early 2026 data? Because the people that are filing early are the people who are going to want to get their returns, who are getting refunds, as opposed to the people who are probably, if you owe money, you're going to wait to pay that money. You're going to wait to file. Like, again, I was dilly-dallying because of all the crap I was dealing with. But again, most people, when they know that they're going to get a big refund, they're going to go ahead and file that as soon as possible so they can get that money as soon as possible. Whereas if you owe, they're going to put it off and wait till the 15th. So there's no way that you can logically... Let's see what this stupid website says from the Tax Foundation. Let's just see what they have to say to see if they take that into consideration. Average refunds in 2026 are likely to be larger in 2024 and 2025, erecting new tax cuts into one larger than in 2024 and 2025. The total amount refunded as of the 6th week of reporting is running ahead of the past filing season by nearly $20 billion at $182 billion compared to $163 billion, while the average refund is up 10.8%. In 2024, IRS issued 104 million refunds, and in 2025, more than 103 million, as nearly two-thirds of filers from both years received refunds. That share is likely to climb higher in 2026. Let's see, 2026 season is first to reflect new tax changes in the Act, in OBA, including deductions for tips, overtimes, auto loan interest, yada, yada, yada. Tax filers are likely to see larger tax refunds than usual because of the refunds will be larger. The temporary and retroactive provisions providing the refund surge are not what we expect the new tax law to boost the economy. Instead, the new law's permanent reductions in marginal tax rates will increase incentives to work, blah, blah, blah. The average tax refund as of March 13th, 2026, thank you for the bits, Alyosher, was $3,623, up 10.8% compared to $32.71 as of March 14th, 2025. The IRS is required by law to wait to release tax returns with EITC and ACTC refunds until after mid-February, so refund sizes typically increase in late February and level off thereafter. The IRS refunded about $329 billion during the filing years of 2024 and 2025, more than two-thirds of which were sent out before April 15th. As of March 13th, IRS refunded $182.6 billion compared to $163 billion in 2025 total refunds issued. But again, the total amount refunded versus the average amount refunded are also two different things. What's the median amount refunded? It's another thing, because I find a lot of times when people avoid using median to use mean, a lot of times they're trying to basically say, hey, we're trying to look at the overall numbers as compared to the average person. So there's a problem there. Let's see. Total number of refunds issued. Let's see. In IRS 2024, IRS issued more than 104 million refunds out of 163.5 million received. In 2025, more than 103.8 million out of 165 million returns received. As of March, IRS has issued 50.4 million refunds in 2026 compared to 49.8 in 2025. Currently, 72% of filers have received a refund in 2026. So, again, we'll probably have to wait to see where that ends up after April, because of the fact that if you have, but again, what's the median amount of those things? Where are they falling? Are they falling up the higher level? Or are the higher income earners getting more of the money, skewing the data for the low income people who might be getting fewer dollars as it pertains to what they're getting in refunds? Again, they're not saying that at this point in the article. At least as the filing season progresses, early differences may smooth out as more people file on refunds with refundable credits begin to flow. We will update this page on a weekly basis with the filing season statistics and how they compare last two filing seasons. The 2026 filing season began January 26th. Blah, blah, blah. IRS filing season statistics compare, yada, yada, yada. So, let's see. According to the Center of American Progress, White House and congressional Republicans data show the average 2025 tax refund will increase by much less than 1,000, with Americans earning less than 100,000 income seeing no increase. As I said, seeing no increase. The Trump administration, Republicans on the House Committee of Ways and Means, have claimed that because OBA average refunds are projected to rise by $1,000 or more this year, yet according to the data cited by the White House and congressional Republicans, this is not true. Their sources show the average tax refund will actually increase by only $331 to $748. And again, what your refund is depends on what you withhold, so therefore it's kind of hard to judge that. Furthermore, like the big beautiful bill in general, the vast majority of the refund dollars will go to high-income Americans. Fewer than half of American taxpayers making less than $100,000 will receive an increased tax refund this year, and their refund checks will only be $208 larger than previously. Meanwhile, all Americans making more than $200,000 will see an increased refund, and theirs will average over $2,000 more than last year. Claims of massive 2025 tax refunds are not supported by the data. The Tax Foundation clearly shows that tax refunds will rise by an average of 748 this year, 25% less than the 1,000 increase by the White House. Oxford Economic Study says the total taxpayer savings could amount to an additional $50 billion through bigger tax refunds per IRS data. However, there were more than 154 million tax returns filed in 2022. Simple division shows that the average tax refund would increase by 331 per taxpayer. If the same number of people filed this year, a 331 projected refund increase is only a third of the 1,000 that the White House is claiming. A non-public analysis from the investment firm Piper Sandler is described by the White House Ways and Means Republicans, showing taxpayers are expected to take home additional $91 billion in refunds. Again, divided by 154 million taxpayers, show the average refund would be $591 per taxpayer if the same number filed this year. This would be 41% less than the 100% increase congressional Republicans are claiming. Furthermore, early refund data shows that refunds are not on track to increase by 1,000 per taxpayer so far. The IRS reports that tax refunds have increased by only 225 on average, or about 11% relative to this time last year. That increase is far from the 33% increase necessary to reach the $1,000 promise. 331 projected refund increase is only a third that the White House is claiming. Let's see, tax refund increases are concentrated among higher earners, while negligible for taxpayers with incomes below 50 grand. If you're making less than 20,000 a year, 12% of taxpayers, you're getting an increase of a refund of $13. If you're making between $20,000 and $50,000 a year, 26% of taxpayers, your refund is increased $89. If you're making between $50,000 and $100,000 per year, now I don't know if this is looking at adjusted gross income or if this is looking at your net income. Adjusted gross income, I'm in probably this one. 25% of taxpayers make between $50,000 and $100,000 a year. That's $430 increase. People who make $100,000 to $200,000 a year, 21% of taxpayers get $994 more average with their refunds, and more than $200,000, 15% of our taxpayers, $2,046 increase. So yes, as we all would have expected, the amount of people who are filing who are getting higher tax refunds, the vast majority of them are, or the vast majority of the money that's coming in are coming in at the top 36% of taxpayers, whereas 21% again of taxpayers are bringing in $994, on average than the previous year, and the ones who are making over $200,000 are bringing home more than $2,000 more. Average refund figures can disguise the fact that many Americans will not see an increased refund at all. Getting larger refund as a result of the OBA heavily depends on if a taxpayer is part of the groups favored with the tax cuts. Those who qualify for the state and local tax deduction cap increase, who almost exclusively make more than $200,000 a year. Those who get the overtime pay deduction are only about 6% of all workers. Fewer than half of American taxpayers making less than $100,000 will receive an increased tax refund this year. Most American households making less than $100,000 will not get a larger tax refund. Tariffs and the expiration of healthcare tax credits dwarf the average tax refund, which is, of course, the other thing to take in mind, that, yes, your average tax refund, the average family is paying $2,000 or more in, let's bring that up. Average impact on tariffs per taxpayer. The implemented Trump administration in 2025 and 2026 are projected to cost the average. Let's record this one. Tariff implemented by the Trump administration in 2025 and 2026 are projected to cost average household between $1,230 and $2,500 annually, acting as a regressive tax hike. These duties, largely paid by American importers and retailers, raise consumer prices on items like apparel, electronics, and food, reducing average household purchasing power by roughly $158 per month. The Tax Policy Center claims that the $1,230 compared to the $2,512 that the congressional Democrats are saying. But again, even if you're paying $1,230 more for tariffs, if you're the average household, let's let's then go back there and say, okay, so if you're in the less than $20,000 income bracket, which is 12% of taxpayers, that $13 that you got back as an increased tax refund, compare that to the $1,230 from the Tax Policy Center, that is the average household cost. Guess what? You're now having to pay $1,217 more money overall because of Trump's overall fiscal policies. That doesn't even include the loss that you might have had in reduction of food stamp benefits and other Medicaid and other benefits that they're cutting for you or to you or whatever. $20,000 to $50,000 gross or net earners, I guess, 26% of taxpayers get $89 more. So those people who are 26% of taxpayers, y'all are getting the $1,230 less the $89, or let's say 90. So now $1,140. That's how much money you're paying more than you were last year, because yeah, your $89 offset some of those tariffs, but not enough, and you're still paying more tariffs. $50,000 to $100,000 taxpayers. That's 25%. So now you've gotten over 50% of taxpayers. You've gotten to 63% of all taxpayers. But the 25% of taxpayers making between $50,000 and $100,000, that's $430 of an increased average refund compared to the $1,230 that you're now paying. And that's the lower level. That's the lower amount by the Tax Policy Center. So now you're paying exactly $800 more because of tariffs once you offset the larger refund that you got. So you're still being harmed by Donald Trump and his fiscal policies. The people making between $100,000 and $200,000, 21% of all taxpayers, $994 in increased refunds that you're getting on average, compared to, again, the on average $1,230 lower level amount from the Tax Policy Center. So you are making $236 less money over the course of the year once your tariffs are offset by your tax refunds that have been increased. And then the over $200,000, so 15% of taxpayers may have gotten $2,046 in increased tax refunds, but again, they're paying $1,230 minimally on their tariff increases, so that is $816 that they are getting more. So they've improved by $816, those making more than $200,000, and that's if you're using the lower level version of the $1,230. If you're using the Democrats' version, even the people making more than $200,000 a year are paying less, are getting less overall benefit, because those tariffs that they're paying is being offset mostly by the amount of by the increased tax refund, but you're still having to pay, if you take the Democrats' number, just under $500 more in money towards those tariffs. So yeah, so the idea that Donald Trump's tax policies are helping the American public is just full of malarkey, as Joe Biden would say. So yeah, and then plus the extra cost and fuel. Freudian slip there. DB Golding says extra costs of fuel added on top of that. Now you're having to pay more money because, we're bombing the energy infrastructure of Iran. So they're closing the Strait of Hormuz, which has made, gasoline, even more expensive. Even to the point where now conservatives are now complaining about the fact that, gasoline is more expensive, because you have the people who are conservatives who are typically MAGA but are still not happy that we went into Iran. So yeah, the idea that these tax cuts or the OBA is helping the American people, and especially because Donald Trump thinks he's able to do it because of all these tariffs. Overall, the tariffs are hurting the vast majority of the American people. If you take the Tax Policy Center numbers, 85% of the American public, if you combine what they pay in tariffs versus what they pay, what they're getting back in tax refunds, on average, you're still having to pay more money out of your pocket every year. And that's not including things like inflation, the regular inflation on top, before you hit the tariffs. So, again, Donald Trump's tax policies are only meant to benefit the very wealthy of us. So that's why I call BS whenever people try and call him a populist. He's not a populist. He's a faux populist. He's a corporatist. He supports only the oligarchs. He supports the people who are going to make him more money by, you know, contributing money to all of the things that he wants them to contribute to. He's only going to benefit himself. He's only going to benefit himself and his rich buddies. If anything happens to help a lower income American citizen, it's by accident. It's not by design. It's not purposely done. It's a, oops, I'm glad you got to enjoy it because everyone else is getting hosed by this administration and their tax policies. So, yes, and Jennifer says also, now imperialist. Welcome to the show, Jen. Appreciate you. This is some bullshit. Trump said it might open itself. What, the Strait of Hormuz? I believe the Straits of Hormuz will be open. We have to close the gays of Hormuz because that's why I say straits, because there's got to be gays. If there's straits, there's gays, right? Anyway. Orb rumor, ever seen how many dead birds are dead from hitting Trump's giant ass? I don't know, and I don't want to think about it. Don't make me think of giant's ass. The tariff cost to household is inaccurate and intellectually dishonest. All it did, take the tariff collected and divide it by the number of American households. Studies show companies are most of it. Companies are passing it on to consumers because that's how it works. Not in every particular circumstance, mind you, because like we will admit here, we will be honest on Liberal Dan Radio Talk from Left That's Right, is that many people don't understand the concept of price elasticity of demand. Many people don't understand when a good is price elastic or price inelastic. An elastically priced good, if you have elastic demand, it means every time you have a price change, the demand will be affected accordingly, depending on its elasticity. If a good is price inelastic, then an increase in price of the good will not cause an increase in tariffs or whatever are not going to cause the good to go up in price because the demand is just I see. Even then, I probably got it wrong. I probably got it backwards at that point. So again, Orb Rumor says exactly, and you stole my thunder. The exact, and I was getting right there as well. So if it's intellectually dishonest to say, to take the average, all the tariffs and dividing it by the American households, it's intellectually dishonest to take the all of the refunds that you think everybody's going to get and divide it by the American households when you know it's top loaded, right? Studies showed that most are not being passed on. I would email me that, Chad. I would like to see what studies are saying that most of the tariffs are not being passed on. Otherwise, they wouldn't be suing the government to get their tariff money back. Really? You don't think that they would be suing? That they would still be suing regardless? Because again, they're gonna say in court that that these tariffs are being charged to us and they shouldn't have been, and they're going to sue because they're the ones who got assessed the tariffs. But are they then going to pass, if they win those lawsuits and get that money back, do you think those people are going to throw it back into they're just going to throw it into their coffers? So again, we're still paying for their that money. It's just going to come out of us from both ends at this point, because it'll be coming out of our asses when we pay the one way, and then it'll be coming out of our tax dollars the other way, and we're going to be hosed because this administration is full of fucking morons. So, anyway. So, we tend to not talk too much about, we will criticize people on the left when necessary. We will criticize our own side when we have to. And this is one thing that I don't quite understand. I don't understand what is going on with J.B. Pritzker and the Congressional Black Caucus. So, J.B. Pritzker is a billionaire and governor, and his lieutenant governor was running for Senate in the Democratic primary. And so J.B. Pritzker had endorsed Lieutenant Governor Julia Stratton, who eventually won the Democratic primary for his state. The Congressional Black Caucus had endorsed Representative Robin Kelly, a member who finished a distant third in that race. And lawmakers in the Congressional Black Caucus were complaining that Pritzker put his financial weight behind his political ally, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. Benny Thompson from Mississippi says he has to justify what he did. I'm sure at some point, if he decides to run for president, he'll have to come up with some justification, and as to whether or not it has merit or not remains to be seen. I don't know. Maybe he's the governor and she's the lieutenant governor, and they have a good working relationship, and as such, that's why he endorsed her instead of the person who is endorsed by the members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Pritzker has money, and this is the thing that's just mind-boggling to me. Pritzker's money helped put Stratton on the path to becoming just the 6th black senator in U.S. history. That's right. The Congressional Black Caucus is complaining because instead of endorsing their endorsed candidate, who is a well-qualified black woman, who I would have no problem if she would have won or whatever, probably would have made a great senator, but instead he supported another black woman in her race to win the primary and to potentially be a well-qualified and adept senator who also just happens to be black. Joyce Beatty, Democrat of Ohio, says, keep in mind, the Democratic candidate for president that prevails has to go through the Congressional Black Caucus. The CBC is very strategic, and so if there is an issue, we will lay out our framework for what we will take to get our endorsement. Many top CBC officials are in no rush to make the first move to mend fences. We don't need to reach out to the governor, says Gregory Meeks, who chairs the Congressional Black Caucus PAC, adding that the group is focused on midterm races and delivering the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries the Speaker's gavel. Others are going to have to reach us. He speaks of Pritzker. Those conversations will happen when they happen, I guess. Pritzker's political arm issued a statement in response saying he was proud to support Stratton, Illinois' first black lieutenant governor. With only 6 women having ever served in the U.S. Senate who happen to be black, Governor Pritzker supported his partner in governance because he's worked side by side with her for almost a decade and knows that she will deliver for the people of Illinois. His team did not address questions about the CBC members' concerns, but did point to Representative Jim Clyburn from South Carolina, saying ahead of the election Pritzker was free to support anyone. Clyburn on Wednesday told Politico he would expect for Pritzker to support his number 2 and that he was not focused on 2028. Still, lawmakers' veiled threats laid bare the difficulties Pritzker could face beyond Tuesday's primary. Like, I would potentially get it if he was supporting somebody who was not in line with the Democratic Party and Democratic Party policies. And maybe this isn't even my horse to comment on because, obviously I'm a translucently white. So as such, perhaps, I'd have no anything in this conversation. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I really would love somebody to comment on this video afterwards or in the chat right now. Tell me, why am I wrong on this? Why am I wrong for sitting here saying that this is just another example of Democrats being ridiculous in trying to eat their own? Congressional Black Caucus wanted to support one candidate? Great. Help that person win. Another Democratic candidate who is also a black woman wins the primary. Shouldn't you now be trying to get behind, this individual and trying to help that person win? We can't always have our endorsed candidates win. And then we need to then come together and say, hey, let's support everybody who's running for the sake of taking this country back. But no, people want to have their little fief. That's the problem that's going on in Louisiana right now. Because you have too many Democrats in the state of Louisiana who are more worried about keeping their little fiefdoms than they are worried about making sure that we can fight back against the Republicans. And that's how the Republicans were able to gain power in Louisiana and gain supermajorities in both houses of the legislature and the governorship. And therefore, the Democrats are toothless here in the state of Louisiana, lucky to eke by any pieces of legislation they could manage to get by. Because again, we're more worried about infighting and making sure that only the perfect people, according to them, who allow them to keep their fiefdoms to still exist. And if that starts happening all over the place in grander scales than, what it was happening before, then guess what? We're going to lose again. Because we're too concerned with keeping our own little bit of power that we have instead of working together to make sure that we take away power from Donald Trump. This is why this kind of bullshit makes me angry. because we sit here and we squabble amongst ourselves instead of working to help the person who ultimately wins win. CBC doesn't want to endorse Pritzker because of what they did, fine. But get over yourselves and make sure that when it comes down to it, if at the end of the primary season the Pritzker gets the nomination, support him to fucking win. And all this stuff you're doing now to muddy the water with him is not going to help in the primary. It's not going to help in the primary. It's not going to help in the general election either, because you're going to start creating bad blood now. You're going to start making it so that the people are like, well, they didn't like Pritzker, so I'm not going to be happy with Pritzker, even though he supported and helped somebody get to win who just so happened to be his lieutenant governor, who is again a well-qualified black woman who's going to be the 6th black woman to ever serve in the Senate. There should have been a fat man rant. Several things I've talked about tonight could have very well been a fat man rant. But it's absurd, it's ridiculous, and they need to fucking get over themselves. Exactly, Redneck JU. This is what Donald Trump wants. Donald Trump wants this infighting to take place. He will sit here and laugh about it taking place because, you know, the more that we fight amongst each other because one of us supported one candidate and the other one supported the other, and oh no, that's going to help the Republicans keep the Senate. That's going to help the Republicans keep control of at least one of the houses. Who knows? Maybe it'll help the Republicans keep control of the other half of the House too. Because again, we're too busy fighting amongst ourselves over and with our hurt feelings. And oh no, you went against us, our endorsed candidate. How dare you? Shut the fuck up. Get out there and help Democrats win. Whoever the Democrat nominee is from a close primary, help that Democrat win. Period. Stop worrying about your little pieces of turf and start fighting for the country, for the needs of the country, which means we need to not let Republicans have any more power because they're driving us into the fucking dirt. We'll be dead and buried if this is allowed to continue. What did I miss in the chat? So DB Golding said Trump spelled it straight in one of his truths. So he spelled it correctly once? Wow. But he says straights a lot. And a lot of the other conservatives say straights as well, right? Let's see. I understand it, but it's not how math works. Blah, 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 blah. I missed a whole bunch. Or Brimmer, take group of Americans, 2 Americans, and 1 a billionaire, 1 poverty level, average their tax breaks into an amount, makes the poverty dude look rich. I mean, that's what they're doing. By using average instead of median, they do that. When you use average instead of median, let's see if they happen to have median. Median tax refunds 2026 so far. It's still giving just average and not median. Yada, yada, yada. Again, they're using average, not median. Average, not. There's reasons why they're using median, not using median and averages, is because they want to make it look bigger, better. They want to make it look better for the general American populace, and then let the people think who don't get close to the average that, oh, maybe this is just I'm an outlier, and as such, you know, but overall it's good for the American people. No, it's good for the top 10%, top 5%, etc. It's not good for the mass majority of the American people. So, oh no, it's spelled straight. We spelled it straight as in straight, not gay. Okay, so okay, good. So I missed that part. I was just hooked on the whole thing that he keeps calling it the straights, and you know, to make the straights versus gays joke. So, anyway, it's getting warm in this room. What else are we going to talk about today? Only U.S. votes against women's rights document in UN commission. The United States was isolated in its opposition to the adoption of the agreed conclusions at the Commission on the Status of Women on Tuesday, a court recording the only no vote at the UN headquarters in New York on Monday. There were 37 votes in favor, 6 abstentions. The CSW is made up of 45 elected members. Prior to adoption, the representative of the United States, Dan Negrea, first proposed that its consideration be deferred, then that the text be withdrawn, and proposed 8 amendments to the text. According to the UN media release, the U.S. sought the removal of controversial social issues from the document. U.S. objections included ambiguous language promoting gender ideology, vague, unqualified commitments to sexual and reproductive health that could be interpreted as implying abortion rights. Oh no, how dare the rest of the world actually want to say, hey, we should have abortion rights. Thank you for the follow, 1998 window monitor. Censorship language on regulating artificial intelligence, blah, blah, blah. Earlier, Nigeria and Egypt called for more time to reach consensus. The usual route for UN decision-making and the only route the CSW has taken in 70 years. Pakistan later proposed voting separately on each of the U.S.'s 8 amendments. However, CSW Chair Maritza Chan Valverde from Costa Rica said every effort has been made to listen to delegations and to reflect the diversity of views expressed. We are convinced the text represents the most balanced outcome achievable at this stage. Let's look at the Women's Commission annual session begins with contentious recorded vote to adopt outcome document, calls to end backlash against gender equality. General Assembly Hall filled with feminists from around the world as the Commission on the Status of Women began its 2-week gathering with a contentious recorded vote to adopt its outcome by a recorded vote of 37 in favor to 1 against United States with 6 abstentions. The Commission adopted its agreed conclusions document, a document that traditionally was adopted by consensus. The United States proposes 8 amendments. All delegates reject all. There's no agreed conclusions at this point, says the U.S. representative. Ambiguous language promoting gender ideology, blah, blah, blah. How do we entrust the women and girls of the world to an agency that denies the biological realities of women, he asked. Well, because women are women, regardless of whether or not they're cis or trans, so shut the fuck up. Among the amendments he proposed were the inclusion of a definition of gender in paragraph 1. However, Commission Chair Maritza Chan Valverde pointed out every effort was made to listen to the delegations and reflect the diversity, blah, blah, blah. New normative ground key to preserving hard-won progress in gender equality. No country has full legal equality, and women globally still only hold 2/3 of the legal rights that men enjoy. Chair pointed out in her opening remarks, the agreed conclusions will help break new normative ground on this, highlighting some concrete gains. Time is ticking. Will it take 3 centuries to close the legal protection gap for women and girls? Member states and partners assembled here represent the most powerful constituencies. Nauseating levels of impunity and for gender-based violence. The lack of accountability is essentially evident following the partial release of information on the atrocities committed by the Epstein criminal enterprise, says Reem Salem, special reporter on violence against women and girls. It causes and consequences point out they have committed across the globe for decades while flaunting nauseating levels of impunity. These crimes may amount to crimes against humanity, she said, condemning the failure of many governments to still initiate investigations into crimes for which they have jurisdiction. I dwell on this because this is just the tip of the iceberg of a wider systematic and disturbing trend. Women and girls are also the first to be killed in illegal acts of aggression, as seen recently in Iran and long-standing attacks on Lebanon. Both factors I have mentioned have one thing in common. They tell a story of absolute alarming levels of impunity and sky-high barriers to obtaining accountability. She also warned against the regression posed by the dilution of agreed language, erasures of women, girls, and female-specific needs. You cannot, by extension, advocate for the rights of a group you cannot define. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Feminist expectations versus institutional offerings. We know you can move beyond tokenism, she told government representatives, adding you can choose to fund feminist priorities and movements, allocate gender-responsive budgets, tax the rich, and stem the surge of corporates and multinationals fueling injustice. We are witnessing a well-orchestrated backlash against gender equality across regions, as was seen with that, study that was done with Gen Z that we talked about. Erosions of sexual and reproductive health rights, shrinking civic space, attacks on women, human rights defenders, and rising levels of gender-based violence, both offline and online. Of course, remember, if you even look at the thing that happened in New Orleans here with the people who were making threats, it was originally a guy that posted the video of those dudes making Nazi salutes on the Mardi Gras float, but it wasn't that dude that got threats. It was a woman who shared it who got threats. because women tend to suffer more when men do things that are wrong. So anyway, so again, United States proving itself to be yet another embarrassment under Donald John Trump. Let's see, Steve, I think you should mention the Mueller. I haven't gotten there yet. Give me time, Steve. Jesus. That is one of the many things. That was even on the opening screen, wasn't it? Let's see, Trump is a hypocrite with Mueller's death. There you go. So that was in the opening screen right there. Trump hypocrite on Mueller's death. We had somebody saying my name spelled Mueller, so that's I'm off to sometimes mispronouncing it, calling it Mueller. But again, this should be a Liberal Dan Radio Fat Man rant. Remember when Donald Trump said that, you know, he was going to, all the people who, you know, made these comments about Charlie Kirk, we're going to go after them. We're going to go after them because it's terrible. You shouldn't, this is somebody's family. You shouldn't, whatever he said back then about the whole being all enraged over the people mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. Now look, here on Liberal Dan Radio, we didn't mock the death of Charlie Kirk. We don't mourn his death. We're not mourning his death because, you know, he wasn't somebody that we liked. You know, you shouldn't be mourning him. But we didn't sit here and mock it and celebrate it. We just, you know, we're not going to sit here and cry over the guy that was a piece of crap. And yeah, he's dead, but he was still a piece of crap. And then for Donald Trump, the only reason we don't have a Hypocrite of the Week today, and it may just very well air on Wednesday, spoiler alert, Hypocrite of the Week is Donald Trump and everybody else who, you know, were crying about all of the people who were mocking Charlie Kirk's death, but are magically silent on Donald Trump's horrific comments about the celebration of Mueller passing away, about 81, I think it was, because he can't hurt anybody anymore. He didn't even hurt you, you stupid ass. But let me tell you, when natural causes kick in, when the clot hits, when the clot hits on those veins, yeah. Anyway, we'll probably come up with some sort of song like that when that happens to old you-know-who. And I better not hear one damn person crying about it from the right, because Donald Trump couldn't very well hold his tongue when it came to Mueller passing away. Guess what? When it happens to you, when the natural causes kick in, we are going to be having a celebration, cheering that one. And nobody has any ability to come back and tell us that we're wrong for doing it because we're just following the example that your president, Donald Trump, did. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway. JD Christie, thank you for the 333 rant bonus. Appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. What did the John Trump post after the death of Robert Mueller? We can find it real quick. I mean, pretty much what I said. Post on. Where is it? Why don't you just show the damn screenshot, dummy? There it is. Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. And of course, Donald J. Trump was all in caps. So yes, that is the full words of Donald Trump's post on Lie Social. So yeah, we're going to party like it's 1999 or party like it's 1699, referencing Weird Al's Amish Paradise. Been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise. We're all crazy Mennonites living in an Amish paradise. You know what? I hope if the natural causes do happen, I don't get my leave time. My available leave time does not start till into early May. So I have about a month and a half maybe before I get to take vacation time. And at that point, I get unlimited PTO. So I'm hoping it can hold off at least till then. I mean, I'm not going to cry about it if it happens beforehand, obviously, but I would love to be able to take just a day to just celebrate, and just maybe we could do a long ass live stream just celebrating the clot. Again, we're gonna have to think. I don't know if I could see. That's the thing. I don't know, like, if I could use AI to make a song that sounds like Mac the Knife. And just start to do something. I'm gonna have to write the parody because there's this ACDC, no, an ADHD thing. Yeah, back. Yeah, no. An ADHD thing of mine is that whenever I have this idea to write a parody, I have to write the fucking parody. So yeah. So the lyrics for that probably will be written, and we'll probably make the song up and probably just do it to karaoke or something. We just won't be able to do it live because I don't want to get a copyright strike or have the video not be able to be monetized from commercial advertisement or whatever. Let's see, Surrender Monkey. How is taking a break from building a boat that looks like the Starship Enterprise on Raft worse than trying to be insane on a single player game? Wait, what? I'm missing that. Damon Dog, hope you're not flying. No. I'm still far away from the point where I want to fly if I don't have to. I mean, I saw the lines at the New Orleans International Airport are absolutely ridiculous. I have somebody who was in town this weekend, friend of mine, who was actually leaving to go back up to where she lives, and she was sharing the pictures, of the just the ridiculous TSA lines, and B, the pictures of some of the people who are in ICE who are just standing around doing nothing. Of course, in another airport, not the New Orleans airport, but another airport, the ICE people were there, and they figured, while we're there, let's separate a mother from their child. Simple as that. Let's see what did Orb... See, truth be told, Mueller is partially responsible. So, oh, hey, Damon Dog, good to see you. Partially responsible for Trump because he wouldn't charge him based on a memo, not a law, a memo. Yeah, I mean, I guess. But Mueller should have leaked the unredacted file before his death. His just following the law was a cop-out left over from the corrupt Nixon administration. Yes, agree with you there 100%. I'm missing the comment about... What are you responding to? Oh, I never see Orb pop up for a donation, is what Chad says. Hey, Orb, I'll match whatever you want to donate to the show. You talk a lot, but I never see you putting anything up. Hey, I would love to see y'all in a bidding war as to what might happen or whatever. Dan, living in paradise, yeah. See, Catherine, the goal was to stop TSA from working at the airports and replacing them with ice monsters, pretty much. Troll has a $1 challenge now. Yes, Chad. Yes, Chad is challenging you to put up the money. Again, I'm not judging anybody. And again, I don't know if you were here, Chad, but we're changing the policy yet again, where it's not, the rule is not going to be $5 or 5 minutes now. It's going to be, some callers are going to get at least 10 minutes at this point before I will start counting the money put up. So at that point, we'll see. But and typically the point of that was to be able to hang up on people who the vast majority of the audience want to be hung up on, and not to allow an individual to just hijack the show or whatever. So but for this particular circumstance, I think we're going to say that we are not going to have because we're about to go to the phone calls, we are going to temporarily, even though I said that, in generally the policy is going to be 10 minutes instead of 5 minutes. And I kind of want to limit all callers almost to 10 minutes at this point, just simply because of the fact that it gives other people the opportunity to call in. That being said, but sometimes, people who do know how to talk well and can rant on for a long time, I'll give a little leeway on that, simply because, people like Big Hook have a lot to say, and I appreciate what Big Hook has to say. But I think just today, we are going to, when we do open up the phone lines, we are going to put the hang-up charge on hold, so to speak, so that we can have more people call in and not get hung up on. So let's see. And speaking of which, I think I got to everything I did want to speak about today. Let me just check one more thing on my list of shit to talk about. Let's see. We talked about the UN thing, CBC, trans registry, the Nazis threat, Trump celebrating Mueller, the tax refunds, the Bush thing. So yeah, we pretty much covered everything that we want to do. Let's just do a reset of the show. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from left, that's right. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays live here. If you go on Blue Sky, let me show the Blue Sky thing real quick, because that one's actually pretty funny or pretty good or whatever. I used whatchamacallit. I used AI to make myself a fancy new why is it not signed in? It's going to ask me to, it's not even, that's weird. Maybe over here? Maybe I need to do it on this browser? I don't know. Nope, still not signed in. That's really weird. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. I'll have to bring it up via ChatGPT, I guess. I don't know. Because I did design it first in ChatGPT. Let's bring it up that way, I guess. Doop doop doo. Doop 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 doo doo. Let's bring it up. Let's get to this. Yada yada yada. There was lots of things to be done with it. And here is the new image that's available on Blue Sky that I used with AI to make it all fancy pants and all make my logo shiny and everything and put me in space, and just using my selfie and adjusted it accordingly, put myself in front of a podcast mic, and there you go. Oh, thank you, Chad, so much. $30 for the thing. I like Big Hook rants. Actually, I just like being petty as well. I will never block him again. Where you at, Orb? So there you go. Yes, talk from the left. That's right. And that's actually the little language you see right here in the Venmo thing. But yeah, there you go. But anyway, thank you very much, Tad, for the $30. Appreciate you for that. But again, all the different ways you support the show. Again, like, share, subscribe videos, comment on videos, especially longer videos. Follow me at whatever social media you're on. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Blue Sky, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. It's pretty much Liberal Dan Radio everywhere. So check it out. If you see posts, share them, comment on them, lather, rinse, repeat. Help the algorithm, because Al Gore, as always, needs more rhythm. But that being said, we are going to put up the call-in number. We will turn off Do Not Disturb so people can receive calls. Again, if you are a caller who is calling from a blocked number, you will be automatically shunted off to the voicemail. We will not see what your name is, and if you sound like somebody who's new, you will likely be. I will likely have my hand over the hang-up button just to make sure that I could, not hear anybody talking about whether or not they prolapse or not. Jeff, can you text the number at least, Jeff? I want to see if you can text the number. Or maybe you just don't want to share your phone number with me or whatever. I don't know. But anyway. Let's see. Troll had to pay a toll. I mean, he just paid the $30 just to pay the $30 because he supports Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from left, that's right, right? So, hey, Veronica, good to see you. Thank you for joining. I don't know if you had said something earlier, but again, things kind of scrolled on by. I mean, one thing would be bad if I guess only negative would be that if we do get so big where the text scrolls so much that I can't respond to everybody, whatever it is, what it is. But still, we'll still have the open phone lines. We'll still do all that, and we'll still, we'll make do, but that'll just mean that the show is becoming more popular, and then we'll be able, and I'm sure everyone will be happy about the show becoming more popular, right? That's what we want to see, right? We want to get millions of views on all the good videos, yada yada yada, etc. Yeah, 562 LibDan1, not LivDan1. LibDan. Are you mistakenly dialing a V? Is that the problem? Is that what you're calling, or is that the joke that you're making? Bob Belfast. Wait, she's 200 family coming over with big family. They're checking out venues, Donegal or more southeast of the border. Castle something. Is it Castle Anthrax? Dan, glad to be here and caught the prolapse comment. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that was ridiculous when that last person called him. But I could tell by the tone of that person's voice that I had to have my mouse button right over that red. Right over the redness, because I wanted to make sure to hang up real quickly as soon as they said the shitty thing. So, at least it wasn't like the N-word, like, because what Donald Trump says.
We can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are two N-words, and you can't use either of them.
I don't want to use the N-word unless I'm in the car and no one can hear me talk. So, anyway, nobody laughing at the Castle Anthrax joke. Is that movie too old for most people? I'm sure some of y'all know what I meant. Space always makes people look different. Juicy eyeballs are different in 0G. Check my math. Viscous liquids in space still siphon. It's not gravity, people. I didn't have to Google the song words or use AI. Nice. Let's see. I will be. DB Golding said I'll be pissed and stoned for at least a week. It was what was iffy from the start? Oh, the phone call. Yeah, the phone call was iffy from the start. Absolutely. Oh, and look who it is. Wait, hold on. I'm not hearing the ring. It's weird. It popped up on the screen, but it didn't ring. But it still showed that you were calling in. So hey, awesome. Maybe I changed the settings somehow. How are you today? How's your leg doing and everything? What's going on?
I'm doing what I do. There's not much else I can say. But you guys, you guys destroyed an Air Canada plane and killed two of our pilots the other day because of these stupid cuts and stuff.
Yeah. I saw have you seen the video of the actual crash? Because it's just, it's terrible. And one of the pilots that managed to eject out and is in the hospital, but the other two died. And yeah, it's all because we don't have properly trained people in all the different places where we need to have properly trained because of Elon Musk and Donald Trump and all the bullshit. So. Yeah,
but now he's going to probably try and put ICE agents as traffic control officers now. This is how ridiculous it's gotten. You guys are the ultimate clusterfuck of the world right now.
But here's what I don't understand. What I don't understand is ICE has money to pay their agents, and they're part of Homeland Security, but we can't pay the TSA, who are part of Homeland Security. Like, what's that about? Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense that you can pay the one, but you can't pay the other. I understand that the ICE agents will do their jobs, without getting paid because they like being bullies with guns who can torment minorities and other, marginalized and oppressed people. But if you can pay ICE, you should be able to pay the TSA. And all this bullshit about it being the Democrats' fault. The Democrats have put up 7 different bills. Even fucking Tom, who's the Senate Majority Leader? Even he tried to go to Donald Trump and say, look.
Thune, yeah,
Tom Thune. I got the Toms mixed up. Tom Thune went to Trump. It's like, here's a bill, standalone bill to pay TSA. And Trump's like, nope, we're not going to do it. We're going to put the blame on the Democrats, even though him saying no squarely puts the blame right on Trump and the Republican Party. But, people don't like to be honest. So it is what it is.
Well, this is just it. At this point, what Trump has basically proven is that you can commit crimes right in public right now and get away with it because he's the ultimate gangster out there right now, committing crimes and blatantly saying, oh, I could shoot somebody on Main Street and not lose any voters because they are the worst of the worst. Basket of deplorables was a kind reference as opposed to what it should be. You know, I mean, this is just it. The thing that gets me is that you have a percentage of voters who basically said, we want this man to be the face of America and to show the world what we truly are. And it's like, so you pick the biggest asshole to be your representative to prove that that the USA is the biggest asshole of the world. You know, I mean, that's just it, you know. I mean, he's like, oh, well, we should, you know, NATO, we should get rid of NATO now. You know, oh, we should get rid of this. Oh, we should, you know, I mean, he is so in the bag right now for Putin. It's not even funny, you know. I mean, at this point, his favorite song is Taco, Putting on the Ritz, you know. I mean, because that's what he's been doing. He's basically doing everything for Putin. You know, I mean,
good play, good play on words there. I like that. Putin on the Ritz, very good play. I like that pun.
Yes. Well, I mean, what do you say when all evidence points to the fact that he's doing what he's doing, and Americans go, oh, but you know, he's disenfranchising women and black people, and he's going to you know, take away everybody that I feel threatened by, even though I haven't been threatened. And it's like, what do you do now? You guys are going to be in deep shit soon, because you're going to have food insecurity. You're going to have energy insecurity. You're going to, you know, nobody asked for AI either. In fact, most people have a very negative view of AI, and that's being forced on us. And the thing is that we're already seeing it right now. AI is just pretending to be correct, but the glitches are starting to show, you know, the glitch in the matrix, as they say, you know, because it's showing that you get different answers depending on who you are. And then on top of that, you know, I mean, the tech billionaires are fucking running the show in your country right now. I mean, you have that age verification scam, which is basically Mark Zuckerberg wanting more of everybody's data. You know, I mean, because Cambridge Analytica showed that it could work, you know. I mean, like, I don't know anymore. I'm really disappointed in what America has basically turned into, which is basically, you know, a fiat dictatorship where, you know, the only, you know, make America great again is basically only counts for billionaires. You know, I mean, that's the thing, and they get the final say, and you get screwed, you know, no matter what. I mean.
So I do like this thing that Chad gave an extra $10 as a super chat to ask a question of you. So I mean that might be a neat thing. If you want to ask a question of the caller, put it in a super chat.
Sure.
So you asked if people are taking photos of ICE agents in airports. So he wanted to ask why you asked that.
Because they need to be revealed. They have to know that accountability is going to come one way or the other. Maybe if they feel so justified in their mission, then why are they hiding their faces? You know,
well, look, and even Donald Trump said that the ICE agents who are at the airports need to not have their masks on and need to show their faces. So even Donald Trump said this thing. So I mean, it seems like if you, who believes that you and Donald Trump are both saying that ICE agents working at airports need to have their faces uncovered, then I don't know where anybody could find a flaw with that argument. I mean, because that's just two widely different portions of the thing. And I agree. I don't believe that anybody who's working in law enforcement should be able to cover their faces, because, again, there does need to be accountability. You have ICE agents right now who are using meta glasses instead of what is required by federal law as it pertains to recording what's going on, because when you have meta glasses, the data is not going into particular, where federal servers that are...
Not only that, but it can be also viewed by Facebook.
Right, and Meta can view it. Right. There's tons of reasons why using those meta glasses. They didn't have enough technology to ramp up the amount of people that they hired for ICE to be able to use the laws as they're written, to be able to record what all their interactions that are going on with people. It should not be a secret what's going on. People should not have to, be able to be cowards when they're serving as in law enforcement. They shouldn't. Now look, there may be exceptions to the rule of if you're like doing like an undercover thing, then obviously if you're actually working an undercover sting of something, then yeah, you should be able to obfuscate the fact that you're law enforcement, because that's required of the certain role that you're doing. But when you're sitting out there, working out in the public, in a public place as a law enforcement officer, you should not be able to hide who you are. You shouldn't be able to mask yourself. You should be able to show exactly who you are and what you're doing. You should be able to show your name, your last name, your badge, whatever your badge number is when you're law enforcement. You should be able to be showing everything, something that identifies you as a member of law enforcement, because you're a member of the state, or you're using state authority. You should, and nothing you do should cause you to fear any repercussions from those actions. But when they mask themselves, they are more likely, because Chad also asked if I agree with whether or not the people should be masked. When you embolden yourself to do bad things by hiding your face, then that makes you more likely, if you're a nefarious person, to do these things. And when you're the type of people who have been caught on recordings to say, this is just like playing Call of Duty, guess what? You're a piece of shit, and there's no reason why you should be serving in any form of law enforcement capacity if you're looking at this as a fucking video game. So absolutely, people who are working ICE should absolutely not be able to, as a rule, I mean, again, exceptions to every rule, but as a general rule, you should not be able to cover your face and to hide who you are when you're supposedly following the law.
The thing that I find so hypocritical about it is that, when it's for medical necessity to prevent the spread of the COVID virus or anything like that, you can't do that. ICE agents, go right ahead. Fuck. You want to have your cake and eat it too, because it falls within your racist white supremacy doctrine that you can. What did the Ku Klux Klan do? They wore hoods so that way they could be anonymous, so that way nobody could identify them when they lynched people. Fuck. And that's what it is. It's basically white supremacists under hiding behind a government shield and then pretending to be law enforcement. It's the same thing. It's the fucking slave patrols, only this time it's aimed at everyone who isn't, of Caucasian persuasion. The whole thing is just a fucking pile of shit. And what's going to end up happening at the end of this thing. It's going to be a pardon palooza. I'm going to pardon everybody in government, anybody who worked for me, and anything that I did is being pardoned, because who's going to testify against me if I pardon everyone and give them their get out of jail free card?
Well, that's why we're hashtag Team Blood Clot, because if the blood clot wins before that happens, then he can't be the one to do it. Of course, Vance might very well do it, but still.
Yeah, but I think he's already got the pardons written out in advance, right? He's got them all written out as pocket pardons for every single buddy. This is just it. He's not going to say it out loud right now, but he's probably got it all prepared in advance. This is the way it works with him. Everything is a con. Everything is a lie. Everything, is...
He'll be like, this is my last will and testicle, and I have this read everything, all the pardons that I have. They're beautiful pardons. Nobody has pardoned this many people. Anyway.
Well, what do you do with that? I mean, your nation has, fallen to the point where you can't. What's the last good thing that you can report that the government has done for people?
Under Biden.
Oh, we've gone to war. Oh, what did we do in advance of war? Oh, we cut the VA so that way the people that will be returning from the war we just went into won't have people ready and on the wait to treat them. Everything has been a complete and utter fuck up. I don't know what you do with it anymore. You can't look away, because the thing is that if you look away, that's when you become a victim of the stupidity that's already there. All you can do is try and safeguard yourself and hope that you don't, become the next victim, and he'll just go, oh, well, that's life. No, it's not life. It's called preparation, living within reality and knowing what the difference between right and wrong, and, not allowing other people to decide your fate. I mean, all human beings have the right to live and to try and pursue the goals that they want to do, and I mean, that's just it. So long as it doesn't interfere with the happiness and the goals of other people, I don't get this thing. The white supremacy is such a factor in it, and that's the thing. They want to play the victim, but they don't want to face accountability for being the aggravator of these things, and.
But as Josh Stees does point out, which I missed, which is fine, is like, Trump can only pardon federal crimes, so he can't do anything if these people get convicted of state crimes, which could happen. So and where Trump may very well have fucked up and fucked over his ICE cronies is that they targeted blue areas, not red areas. So by targeting blue areas, they're more likely, the police, the law enforcement over there, or at least the people who were in charge of the law enforcement, like the politicians, are more likely to be like, go arrest these fuckers who did the horrible shit. So maybe that'll be their find out phase.
Yeah, but here's the thing that's bothering me right now. There is lots and lots of evidence that basically Trump is basically destroying all files, all evidence of the crimes that he's committing, right? And I mean, that's just it. He has basically turned the Department of Justice on itself by saying you have to destroy this and destroy that. I mean, how much are you willing to bet that a lot of things within the Epstein files are going to be destroyed before they're ever viewed?
Right.
I mean, call it a cover-up. I mean, but the guilt is there because of the actions. The actions dictate that they know that they're guilty, and that's just it. If you got nothing to be ashamed of, the evidence should clear you. But that's the thing. They're destroying the evidence because they know it won't clear them. And it's infuriating what's going on because there is so much misinformation. I mean, I know I was a little bit skeptical about Taylor Lorenz, but she was saying before that they're basically erasing stuff off of the internet now. So, past evidence, past stories, everything, it's all being, deleted. So that way you can't find information sources. So unless you actually go and make screenshots or recordings of everything that comes out, history is going to be erased. And that's, you know, and human beings have been, you know, bettered by learning from history and not repeating the same mistakes. And, you know, if you erase the history, of course you're going to repeat the same mistakes.
Yep.
You know, and I don't know. I have a lot of anxiety over the stupidity that keeps going on and pretending to be, but we're just good old boys. We're just joking. Yeah, but joking
it's always
is
it's Schrodinger's joke though. They make a serious comment and then once people call them out for it, it's I was just joking.
Well, that's what Trump does too, right? He says,
right.
I was just joking.
He says I never joke. He says I never joke. He says I never joke. And then when he jokes, it's like, I was just kidding. But he's literally said on several times that he never jokes around. So,
you know, and this is just it. You know, you're dealing with a malignant narcissist who won't apologize for anything. I mean, you know, I don't know. We live in a world of chaos right now, and I just, you know, everything is getting more expensive. You know, there's going to be insecurity here, there, and everywhere, and it's all falls at the feet of Trump. He fucked everything up. As what's his name said, you know, everything that Trump touches dies. You know. And I don't put it past him to basically go and bomb the Iranian electrical facility, which is nuclear powered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing I'm thinking. Like, if he manages, like, I understand, you know, there's a difference between bombing, like, and taking out, like, the wiring, that the infrastructure that gets the energy from place to place. But, like, I wouldn't put it past Trump to be like, bomb the nuclear reactor, and then, like, you know, you're going to have fallout all over the place, and then it's going to be fucked. So, you know, I would not put that past him whatsoever.
Yeah, but but here's the problem. Netanyahu would do it.
Mm-hmm, I'm sure. And then unlike, you know, other presidents, Donald Trump feels no need to put the leash on Netanyahu because he believes like Netanyahu, he understands how Netanyahu needs to have military actions to distract from political corruption, and that's what happens. So anyway, let's go ahead. Let's see. Let's see if we want to have anybody else wants to call in. Anybody? Anything else you want to add in before we move on and potentially do another caller?
I don't know. As a Canadian, we're looking at you shaking our heads and going, what can we do, right? You guys have to basically put him in check, and that's just it. And the question will be is, I mean, you heard about that thing there with Johnson there, and he was overheard saying that if the SAVE Act goes through, they'll be able to eliminate anywhere from 12 to 18% of the voters.
Yep.
You know, by removing them from the rolls.
Yep.
Which is basically the ability to cheat the election.
That's what they do.
You know,
that's what they do.
And to make sure that accountability can't happen. You know, I mean,
look all the way back in 2000. All the way back in the 2000 election, you had them removing people from the voter rolls, and that's how we got frickin' Bush instead of Gore. So, I mean, it's a time and tested method to remove people from the voter rolls and not worry about whether or not they're accurately removed from the voter rolls, specifically just because, you know, they want to make it harder for people to vote. And then now that we have rules that allow for, you know, voting, like with, you know, provisional ballots and everything like that, now they want to stop you from being able to cutting those too late or whatever. What happens if you cancel everybody's vote and there's more provisional ballots?
As well as mail-in votes.
Right.
And all the rest of it. I mean, the whole thing is just a freaking scam.
Yep.
You know,
and all
from
based
beginning
off
to end.
All based off of the idea that this massive amount of voter fraud, which even the Heritage Foundation data clearly shows does not exist. Anyway, thank you, Big, for calling in. Appreciate you. We're going to try and move on to see if anybody else wants to call in. But call in Wednesday again. Look forward to talking to you again.
Please, everyone, and please turn out on No King's Day, because that's the thing. If you don't send a message loud and clear that we're coming and we're not going to be stopped, you're just encouraging the chaos that's going to eat you alive in the end.
Exactly.
Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you so much, Big Hook. Talk to you again another day. Have a good one. Peace.
You too. Bye.
Bye, man. All right, that was Big Hook. Big Hook. Churches every game. I mean, didn't this MFer want to nuke a fucking hurricane? Yes, he did suggest that we could nuke an effing hurricane. Can you imagine what would have happened if Biden said that we should nuke a hurricane?
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, that scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Church said of a game. Okay, if Aqua is Chad, he is. He actually seems like a cool dude. If he didn't talk shit about my man Joe Biden, I'd probably get along with him. I mean, look. Financial contribution is not the only thing that Big Hook has helped out with. I'll just put it that way. It's very nice stuff. Anyway, Steve, in Joel we trust. And all else, you know, need to pay cash, right? Is that the thing? Flying around or whatever. Yes, Joel is very fishy. So we put the thing back on. Oh, let's put the number back up. If anybody else wants to call in, we'll leave it open for a few more minutes. 562-LIBDEN1, 562-LIBDEN1, 562-542-3261 is the way to call into the show. If you want to talk, call in, whatever, you can say whatever you want to say within reason. But we'll definitely appreciate hearing from you, getting more calls in. Whatchamacallit, I was trying to make a Trump thing. In my head, I'm still going, oh, we got another caller. Hey, what's going on? We got another caller calling in. Hello, Jennifer. Good to hear from you again. What's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Good to hear from you as well. What's shaking?
Oh, man. You know what really bothers me the most, and it's hard to believe, but I don't know if you've seen that Doc Adams guy on Instagram. He's been on Hal a couple of times too. Mm-hmm. Talking about how a malignant narcissist with prefrontal cortex dementia would absolutely incite World War III in order to distract people from the Epstein files. And it makes me want to start a channel, like, just to where it's like the only thing that we absolutely talk about. I mean, I don't care how many people or what's going on in Iran, but this is what we're talking about, the Epstein files.
Right.
Constantly, you know, because I don't know, I think it's impossible for me to really imagine that I don't know, that people could be so self-serving, you know, and really just flat out evil. But you know, apparently they are, you know. So
absolute shit human beings, 100%.
Yeah. And so I don't know really how to do it, but you know, I know I probably need like Streamlabs or something like that, and I don't even know if I could go live or if I have the time or whatever, but I feel like I want to start like a YouTube channel that's just basically like it says, or that's titled like Trump Epstein, you know, alive, basically, because I think that motherfucker's alive, first of all.
I mean, it is a fun conspiracy theory to go through, even if it's not true or whatever. It is one of my top ones up there right now of you know, what is this conspiracy theory, and you know, is it true, is it not true? I wouldn't put it past Trump to allow that to happen. Absolutely, 100% would not put it past him. But you know, Maybe I should start Liberal Dan Radio podcast consulting. How to make your own podcast or make your own show on the cheap. I definitely can show you what you need to do. So I would definitely help you out with that.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool because I know that there's, and I feel like, oh well, all I'd really be doing kind of is having to just kind of like look up what all news has come up with Epstein on that day or on the day or whatever, and there'd be a lot of fair use material or whatever that I'd be going over. I just watched a podcast or a YouTube stream with a nun today who was saying that she, didn't know that much about the Epstein files, but she finally dug into it, and then she just, called it a satanic ring, and was really like just saying, the basic things that, the only thing that allows evil to persist is for good men to do nothing, and so I just think that, I care about the people that are going to Iran. I care about what's going on with that situation, but at the same time, I think that it absolutely should not silence what he wants it to silence.
Right.
That makes me just livid that all of this, and I know there's a lot of actors, Israel, and there's also, and I don't even think it's Israel. I think it's also, the Saudis and other actors who want this to happen because it benefits them too.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna email you because I'm just thinking. I feel like somebody should just be keeping that line open all the time.
Right.
Just because of the survivors and what they went through, and the fact that even the survivors, that's only a handful of thousands of girls.
Right.
And boys, to be honest, who went through all of this kind of stuff, and Trump feels like he's vindicated just because this one handful of people say that he never harmed them. Well, okay, but what about the other 984 people?
Yeah. It's just like whenever anybody comes forward and says like, oh, I don't understand, like this like people would come out with, remember when Danny Masterson, the actor, was, he had his, charges against him or whatever, and he got, and then all these people came out and was like, oh, well, he was always so nice to me. Well, the sociopaths tend to be nice to a lot of different people, and that's how they charm the pants off of people, proverbially, so they can, get away with forcing them off, in the horrible way. They're never doing bad things to everybody, and they rely on the quietness of, oh, I couldn't imagine that person ever doing anything, so therefore it must not have happened to this person who's coming forward. But why would really most people don't lie about that shit. Most people, there's no reason, because how hard it is to come forward and say that it's happening is bad enough, let alone they have to deal with the societal doubts that are always cast on people who come forward as victims. It happened to me when I was a kid, and then again, I always wrote it off as not being as bad as what happened to everybody else. Oh, this and this happened to me. It was only this and this, but still, it happened to me, and I didn't talk about it until I was much, much later on into my adult life, where I felt comfortable talking to other people about it and trusting even people who were close to me with that information. Now I'm willing to talk about it more often because, I just got over that fear. But still, it's tough to come forward and pop that seal, so to speak. It's tough to come out and say, hey, I was a victim, and because you're going to always have to deal with people who are going to doubt that you were a victim, especially if they knew your perpetrator and are like, oh, well, that person would never do anything like that. So...
Well, exactly, and which is why they need, and I hope they do, get rid of the statute of limitations, because, it can take time. It happened to me when I was young, and and I've had an incident happen to me when I was older too, and even 5 years. Even when you're, older, can sometimes take time before you're just like, you know what, this is really not okay. Like I tried to somehow rationalize that I was at fault, or, something that I did, caused this situation to happen. And it's like, no, that's not true. And,
Right.
Definitely agree with the statute of limitations, being lifted on those kind of things, especially for children.
Yeah, I've never understood why on violent crimes you would ever have a statute of limitations, whatever. Like, I understand, like, maybe monetarily, on financial type crimes, especially if you haven't broken like some certain limit or something. Like, if you stole a candy bar from a local Walgreens or something, like, I think I'm fine with the statute of limitations on that one. There's no reason to be like, oh, we saw this video from 5 years ago of this person stealing a candy bar, so let's go arrest him. No, that's stupid. But
yeah, that seems like they're just seeking you out for a reason or something like that,
But if there's an actual crime of violence that takes place, the idea that there should be a statute of limitations there is just stupid. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But I keep, I'm busy, job searching, and then, it's like I'm going to start my master's, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not in a place where I can just stop everything and start a live stream. But I figure if I could at least like a couple of times a week, and maybe if it's not live, I could just do it like offline.
That's always possible too. You could always do non-live things. You could do live things, whatever. I started it 1 day a week myself. Like I was 1 day a week for like years, like till like even when Hal first came on my show, it was only on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central, and then it took a couple of years of the sparklers trickling into the channel and getting up to like more and more subscribers so I can get monetized or whatever. And I wasn't able to get monetized. The only reason I jumped to 2 days is because I figured out, well, maybe if I put out twice the content, I'll be able to get more of the views and I'll get those view hours, and then that worked. And then that was the end of what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago at this point. Maybe it's been like maybe 2 years since I've been monetized, 2 years and a couple months. And then I added just the 3rd day this year, simply because of the fact that to me, streaming like nerdy gaming stuff was less important to me than talking about the shit show that our entire government is or whatever. But yeah. You're creative enough where I think you absolutely could come up with a decent decent content. And I mean, you wrote that song. It was a pretty good song, so there you go.
Thank you. Yeah,
hey,
I am a poet.
Shouts out to Joe in the chat. One of our other conservative listeners are in the chat. Good to see you, Joe. Thank you for joining us in the YouTube
Thank you,
chat.
Joe. So yeah, I mean, I might do it. You might see me pop up. I'm figuring I'm just gonna need to get like Streamlabs or whatever. Basically,
you don't even need Streamlabs. You don't even need Streamlabs. You just, depending on the most important thing, if you're going to stream, is the type of laptop you have or whatever, the type of graphics card you have, because that might help or hurt you as it pertains to what you're able to handle and how much of a delay you're going to get or whatever, how good your image quality is going to be. But you don't even need to buy Streamlabs. Like, I don't buy Streamlabs. I use OBS software. It's a free download, and I use that to connect to YouTube and to Twitch. And there's a plugin you can put in there to connect to both simultaneously. So it's more important that the type of computer you have and the type of internet connection that you have, which is going to get you the better connection, be able to have you stream that way. That's more important than getting the Streamlabs. Now, the only thing about like Streamlabs or like some of the other things that will redistribute is like you only have one stream going out from your internet, as opposed to I have 2 streams going out on my internet, but I have a pretty fast internet that I need to have because I work from home and do IT stuff. So, but we can talk about that privately. I can, and maybe I could do a video. Maybe I could maybe I'll start doing a video series as to what I do to get my podcast up and running on the cheap. And then once I do that, I can actually link to the things that I use and, lather, rinse, repeat, and, throw some affiliate links in there. And,
I mean, Hal did a couple of them, and I reached out to CSL to see if he'd like send them to me because I couldn't find them anymore. But my deal is trying to figure out to make sure that I have some content and being able to show videos from other people as fair use, videos. Because I don't think I'm gonna speak that extemporaneously, like a lot. It's just that, and at this point, I don't even care if it's just somebody coming on 15 minutes a day to say, don't fucking forget that this shit needs to be addressed. No matter how many countries we bomb,
right.
Or who's bombing us, this needs to be not forgotten.
Exactly. There should be nothing. Every time that something happens in this administration, it has to be. I would love to talk to Joe for a second. If Joe's willing to call in and behave.
Ahead,
if Joe's willing to call in and behave, Joe, I actually would love to talk to you about a couple of things for the show. So if you're willing to do so, do so. But again, thank you, Jen, for calling in. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your night, and I'm sure we will talk
all right, you too.
More on email, and I can set you up with some of the links to get you started. Have a good one.
Cool. All right, you too.
Bye. Anyway, phone lines are back open again. If anybody else wants to call in, just putting it on mute right now. Joe, if you do want to call in, I would love to have your opinion on some of this stuff that's going on. And I got a lot of people don't like Joe, but I think today would be a good day to start talking about some of the stuff to get some of Joe's opinions, the talk from the right that might not be as correct as the talk from the left that's right. Anyway, but thank you, Joe, for the compliment. I have lost 150 pounds since being the heaviest that I've ever been. So, Chad, don't embarrass us, God damn it. Again, he doesn't say yes or not, but again, you can call in 562-LIBDAN1, 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542-3261. Joe, what's going on, Joe? How are you doing?
How you doing, brother? It's been a minute, huh? How you been?
It's been a hot minute. We're chilling. Got a new job. My old job went the way of the dodo. They had to declare bankruptcy because another law firm poached a whole bunch of their lawyers, and then they said, "Oh, we can't survive," and then now they're declaring bankruptcy.
No.
Oh yeah, it's a hot mess. So. But it is what it is, as Donald says.
It is what it is.
Well, he's been losing I'll tell you what, he's been I don't like the Iran thing. I mean, I really don't. I think it's I'm a Constitution guy, and what he's doing is wrong. I believe it's an unconstitutional thing going, trying to start a war. And he should have went through Congress, and I would have said the same thing with Biden or anybody else. So I'm strictly Constitution, that. So he's starting to lose my support.
Right. I mean, good. I mean, what do you think about? I mean, you probably agree with him on. I don't know if you agree with him or not on wind power and using turbines and whatever the alternative type of energy type things. What do you think about his paying that French firm $1 billion of our tax dollars to not do wind farms off our coasts? I
disagree with that wholeheartedly. That's wrong.
Yep. Look,
that's wrong.
we're 2 for 2 on agreeing. We're on 2 for 2 on agreeing tonight. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think we've really talked since, the whole legislation passed since them requiring the federal government to release the Epstein files. What do you think about the government dragging their feet?
That's another thing that has got me a little upset. There's a lot of people in government that are on there, and Pam Bondi, she's the one that gave Epstein that sweetheart deal down there in Florida. So they just pass right that up. Nobody talks about that. So yeah, I'm probably 3 for 3 now, huh?
Yeah, we're doing great. I know you've had conversations with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You're the one who said that Marjorie Taylor Greene listened to at least one episode of Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left.
She did.
Right?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yep.
How do you feel about how the Trump administration and some of the MAGA folks have treated her?
Wrong. I support her, obviously. I think she's a strong woman, and she always stuck to her word. I mean, I don't agree with everything she did, but I'm not one of those people that agrees with everything just because they're Republican, But I believe that she was a strong woman, and she was pretty much honest, and she fought for the people in her district. And the Trump administration just treated her wrong. It was wrong,
Now,
it was slap in the face.
We disagree on MTG on policy issues, clearly or not. But it's like she was probably one of the most loyal people to Donald Trump until she stood for what she believed was her principles. And once Trump violated that, he kicked her to the curb. And which I think speaks volumes of Donald Trump to me is somebody where loyalty is not a two-way street. As long as you're loyal to, if you're going to be, if you have to be 100% loyal to him for him to be 100% loyal to you. If you go against one thing, he's going to kick you to the curb. And,
you're fired.
Yeah, you're fired. You're fired.
I mean, so he's starting to lose. I mean, like I said, I know we disagree. Obviously you're liberal, Dan, but I voted for Trump, obviously, and I hope he, like with gas price. What happened to drill, baby, drill? Gas price is going up and up and up. I thought we were self-sufficient. What's going on here?
Well, part of that is because even though we have our own oil, though, and look, we were a big oil producer under Biden too, and under Obama, we were a net exporter of gasoline under President Obama. So there's this kind of mythos that Democrats don't want oil or whatever. It's just people cried when Obama shut down drilling in the Gulf after the Deepwater Horizon, but can you really blame him for that? You want to make sure that nobody else is acting irresponsibly, I would think. But but as it pertains to the price of oil, regardless of how much we make, it's a global commodity, and as such, if the supply of oil globally drops, the price of oil is going to globally rise unless we were to enforce strict we're not trading anything that we do. We have to, everything here is going to stay here. We can't ship out. And I know a lot of people would probably not be happy with that, especially the people who are in big oil. Carbon sequestration.
That's
I have a video coming out.
We're supposed to be self-sufficient, Dan. That's what he ran on. We were self-sufficient,
and we're not because there's the global impacts. I actually have a video that's going to be coming out. I need to actually make another one to kind of flip up some of the some of the wrong things that was in the text or whatever. I have another video coming out that deals with the topic of carbon sequestration and how basically it's just a giveaway to big oil. They're using government eminent domain to take away people's private property to benefit not for the public good but for the people who are the big rich oil companies who are behind a lot of these sequestration projects. And again, our tax dollars are going to fund taking away people's private property. Do we agree on that too, that this whole thing is a scam to benefit big oil?
Yes, we agree. We actually agree on that too. Come on, give me something I can disagree with you on here.
Now, we may disagree on because a lot of conservatives will call it part of the Green New Scam, but in reality, the spoiler alert from the video that's going to come out, it's not the Green New Deal is not in support of artificial carbon sequestration processes. There was actually, when they were pushing the Green New Deal with like Ed Markey and AOC, there was like over 600 environmental firms that were basically like, or environmental groups that were like, look, we don't support this artificial carbon sequestration. This is not part of it. Now, they may very well disagree on the reasons why, but at the end of the day, the left does not want this. It's maybe people in the Senate. Now, Biden's plan did include funds for carbon sequestration, and I'm willing to say, I will disagree with Biden whenever he did something that I disagree with, and that's one of the things that I disagree with. That being said, it's more, the big corporatists, the big energy wing of the Republican Party, which includes the billionaires, which includes Trump, who are people who are backing this. Louisiana's Governor Landry, our envoy to Greenland, is somebody who is a big supporter of carbon sequestration projects. One of the people running for senator down here is vehemently opposed to that, and is constantly butting heads with with Trump, or not with Trump, with mini Trump, with Governor Landry on that issue. So, but look, we're 4 for 4 now on things that we're pretty much agreeing on. I'm trying to reach
this
down.
Is amazing.
This
is amazing.
Is the
What's
ground
going on
cold?
here?
You're becoming more and more leftist. Look at that. I won't tell your friends.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible.
But, you know, one of the things that I think I am seeing, though, is that, you know, I'm not sure there's going to be plenty of things that you agree with Donald Trump on or whatever, and you know, it's fine. But, I mean, do you feel that there is at least at some limited point that you feel that, you know, maybe the wool was pulled over your eyes a little bit with Donald Trump, that what he said that he was going to do didn't really mesh out with what he's going to do? Like, I know with the last administration, a lot of the blame of Trump not doing what he campaigned on was more on the people that he hired versus, you know, and his, you know, the people who were trying to actually put a leash on him or whatever, people who were like, you know, trying to constrain him. This time, those people had less.
And COVID kind of, you know, was, you know, a shot in the head there too, you know.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, come on, any president that was, you know, if that happened to, if that would have happened to Biden, you know, I mean, or whoever. Let's just say Hillary would have got elected and COVID happened. Come on, it would have trashed her, you know, last couple of years. I mean, so COVID kind of did it to him too. Now look, the first run around, I supported him, you know, Trump. Yeah, well, obviously I voted for him twice, but you know, this time around, he's you know, I just don't like the foreign policy, what he's doing right now. It was, you know, I thought he was going to focus on make America great again, and he's not. He's just not right now.
Well, I mean, we can agree that he's not doing it. We might disagree as to why on that is the case. But look, it's you know, some of the things that you might, you know, that you might say, I might disagree with what you're honest about. Being said, at least you're being intellectually honest, and at least you're being consistent as it pertains to what's going on with you know, you didn't like it when Donald Trump was against it. You now don't like it when Donald Trump's for it, and you're willing to be critical of Donald Trump, which is, I think, better than the vast majority of the people who are involved in politics, who are willing to play, you know, oh well, my side did it, so it's fine. I mean, that's but now that this other person is doing it, it's not fine. I don't know if you've seen my Had Biden Done It video yet. It's a bunch of my videos that are, you know, that I've been using AI for my music.
Yeah, I've been watching your videos. Yeah, I've been following you and watching your videos. And you're absolutely right, because I go on other podcast shows, and boy, if you say anything bad about Trump, boy, I'm gonna tell you, they just attack you. You know, these conservative shows, and they just jump on you. So that's another reason why I'm like, whoa. I mean, this guy isn't a king. He's not, you know, Christ himself. You know, I mean, this guy, you know, he's not doing right. If you're not doing right, I'm going to call you out on it. Simple as that. And I've always told you that, Dan. Maybe you didn't believe me in the beginning, but you know, I'm a strict Constitution guy. I believe in the Constitution, and I am a conservative. But you know, being a conservative means conserve, and you know, I'm really a Ron Paul type of guy. You know, you remember Ron Paul? I liked Ron Paul. You know.
Ron Paul, the guy who shakes his fist at the yard and yells that we should get off of other people's yards. So, which is right, which is true. I mean, you know, it's my joke, but it's true. He doesn't want us involved in, you know, all these other, you know, all these other foreign entanglements or whatever. He was the type that wanted us, you know, to limit it back home, and that's, you know, it's fine if you believe that. But you know, again, I guess one of the things I did appreciate about you was your intellectual honesty about things. That, you know, and you know. There are some things we've obviously disagreed in, some things that pissed me off that you said in the past or whatever. But you know, this phone call has went well, and
yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
Maybe we should quit while we're ahead or whatever. But
yeah. Well, I don't know if you got any other callers waiting. I appreciate. Yeah, I actually, you know, was in the middle of doing something, but you asked me to call in, and maybe in the future, we can get, you know, come up. I can get back on here, and maybe we could disagree a little bit and get some debate going. You know.
I don't have a system that actually allows for multiple callers. It's not like Blog Talk Radio where I had like a whole cross screen. This is me just basically using Google Voice and plugging the desktop audio into OBS, and that's how I'm doing this. But I don't have the ability to have multiple people on hold and be waiting or whatever. If I did, that'd be great. But we'll figure that out at some point. But I'm not making enough money with the show to try and get that higher of a technological thing out there. I'm just happy to have the number and to be able to have found a number on Google Voice that allowed me to put.
It's a good idea, Dan. It's a good idea
in.
to interact with the audience. You know, I always told you that. You know, I always said you should take more callers and try to interact with people because more people will tune in. That's what my experience was with Blog Talk Radio. You know,
right. And we'll see. I mean, I have a lot of great ideas that don't necessarily pan out, but it is what it is. And look, thank you so much for calling in when I asked.
Yeah, man, Dan. Hey, take care of yourself. Be safe. Like I said, you look good, man. You're dropping some pounds there, man. Good for you.
Yeah, 150 pounds down from my heaviest. So, would you mind if I put this on just standalone on the YouTube channel as part of its own little video of me with you, and I can tag you in it or whatever?
I don't mind at all, Dan. Hey,
right.
Honesty is the best policy, brother. And please be safe out there, you and your family and your listeners, okay?
All right, thank you so much. Good talking to you, Joe.
All right, bye.
Bye. Joe Gibson, everybody. That was a good call from Joe. Appreciate it. Appreciate you for calling in as well. And I'm sure Chad was happy that, I don't think Chad was like, please don't embarrass us. And I'm guessing Chad is happy with the call as well. But look, this is what happens when intellectually honest people on different sides of the aisle can find common ground. That doesn't happen a lot these days. A lot of times people are looking to find the differences between each other. I do think we could maybe find some way to find common ground and maybe bridge gaps. That may be one way to heal after this whole thing goes down or whatever. That being said, I'm sure there are things that me and Joe are never going to agree on, and that's fine. We don't have to, as long as, we're not, punching up the vileness of whatever that happens a lot in politics. So, and I appreciate Joe also for not mentioning the things that typically drove me nuts when he would talk in before. But maybe he learned a few things about, how things go. And maybe he's seeing, as he said, he calls in other conservative shows and he criticizes Trump and he gets crapped on for it. When, nobody should be blindly following any politician. Blind following of any politician is just dumb and is bad for our country. No politician should feel safe that they can do anything they want and that their supporters are going to continuously follow them regardless. And that's one of the problems that's going on in today's country. That's one of the problems that happening in politics, whatever. At least maybe we can be against the 6'7" kids. Are you making a 6'7" joke with that one? I don't know. And disagreement should never equal hate. Of course, if the reason I disagree with somebody is because they're being hateful, then yes, I'm going to hate you because of our disagreement. But, that's why I call it Nazi bullshit. When people act like Nazis, I'm going to call it their Nazi bullshit. So, anyway, wow, it's almost 11 now. Kind of the last few minutes of the show kind of zoomed on by. So, yeah, life's not an absolute shoe, right? Right, Chad? Anyway, so we are going to go ahead and we can stop recording that one as well. I don't know when I'm going to get to upload all that videos. I have a whole bunch of videos from like a week ago or 2 weeks ago that I still haven't even dealt with and uploaded or whatever. And I have to work on lots of projects I'm working on. Anyway, I do believe that we're going to basically call this an end to this week's episode of Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left. That's right. We will be back Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central. For more. We will talk about all the news that happens between the 2 days and maybe add some other conversational stuff as well. Taking your calls too. I think Wednesday is more likely to not to be a call-in day when I do have calls, simply because it's a fewer viewers type show because of reasons. Because different hours most of the time, as the song says, right? From the Sparklerverse song. So anyway, remember, thank you all very much for watching. Again, check out all the new videos that pop up. Like, share, subscribe, etc. If you want to support the show other ways, you can Venmo, Liberal Dan at Venmo, scan the QR code or whatever. You can buy me a cider, go to liberaldan.com, click the buy me a cider button, one-time contribution. If you do Venmo, just do friends and family because you're not buying anything. There's a Liberal Dan Radio store. There's again, but the most important thing you can do is like, comment, share the videos. If you liked the Liberal Dan Shopper City, share the hell out of that one because that one definitely should go viral. I would love that one to go viral. I would love many of my videos to go viral, but that's one that really I think should go viral, especially for my Willie Nelson joke. So thank you everyone. Again, appreciate y'all so much. Have a great rest of your day, and we will end again as always with some music. Maybe we haven't played the Sparklerverse one in a minute, so or at least in a week or so. So let's do the Sparklerverse one first, and then we will play a couple of the other ones that we didn't play at the start, and we'll talk to you then. Have a great one. Peace.
House Sparks running boy on the mic tonight, breaking down the chaos with humor and light. From making worldwide to the nerd hailing things, leading the charge in this live stream age. Welcome to the Sparklerverse tonight, where the smart talk lands and the jokes take flight. If the world's gone weird and absurdly terse, come laugh it out in the Sparklerverse. Live in the mornings with sexy liberal flair, Stephanie Miller crafting truth on the air. Punchlines flying like fireworks in June, intelligence cutting straight through the gloom. Dan Liberal Dan arrives with rhetorical might, bringing you talk from the left, that's right. Hypocrites and rednecks he will smite, but that after dark show is nowhere in sight. Welcome to the Sparklerverse, please subscribe, cause the trolls get toasted and truth survives.
Hello, this is
For the curious mind, pull up a chair, you'll fit just fine. Boston Brian spitting facts wicked high, you're calling out nonsense right in the eye. If they take 8, logic can't back the kind. Then he dunks on bad takes like a Sox all-star. Fill up and I'm bringing the world to view. Frontline updates straight from Ukraine to Rob Glenn, upping out of the digital sea, talking AI and what it might be. Farron Dublin with the writer's eye so keen, certain breaking news into a biting scene. Trucker John rolling in through the night, and don't forget the mods who keep it all right. Different voices, but all refined. Different hours, most of the time. United and cutting through the news. All cheered on by the Sparkler crew. Welcome to the Sparklerverse tonight, where curiosity keeps the lights on bright. Smash that like and come to converse. We're broadcasting live from the Sparklerverse. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, yeah. He said nobody who healthcare could be so complicated. The Obamacare debate was 6 months litigated. Years of med school debt got capitalized. Insurance claim forms so high they nearly capsized. But he wouldn't know the frustration of trying to get prior authorization. Everybody knew, the whole world knew, the doctors, the lawyers, the CBO crew. Oh, 30,000 pages already reviewed. It wasn't a big secret, we knew. Oh, yeah. He said people don't realize Obama deported, but the porter-in-chief is what La Raza retorted. Obama went after the violent folks and felons. Trump nabbed the dishwashers and people picking melons. But Donald's argument shows that he's not very bright. If Obama made some wrongs, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Everybody knew, the whole world knew. Univision, AP, the fact check crew. Oh, acting all surprised that the sky is blue. It wasn't no secret, we knew. always existed. No wonder when the virus spread, either one who missed it spread them out, slit red in every deadly hue. World Health Memo said we already knew. Everybody knew. Oh, the whole world knew. Oh, the lab coats, the leaders, and we were with the flu. Oh, the nations of the world, more than 192. It wasn't a big secret. We knew. You unveiled oxygen like contraband air. Right 60. You sat down, claiming to discover chairs. War called money was its big surprise. Iraq has oil, can you believe your eyes? He said, we are divided, a surprise to no one thinking. And he was most surprised a Republican was Lincoln. Everybody knew, the whole world knew. The Christians, the Muslims, atheists, and the Jews. Like being shot, they have animals at the zoo. It wasn't a big secret. We knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Obama and Bush's pictures got hidden, obscuring the past, history rewritten, hung in a hallway where no tour can see, confirming his unending fragility. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list, object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, he must not exist. The testing was the line that he said. Hundreds of thousands needlessly dead. Now HHS is run by brainworm quack, hiding the truth behind his back. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list, an administration run by narcissists. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Of documents stacked floor to the wall, top secret folders in a bathroom stall. Charges were pressed, but the case was dropped. A corrupt judicial system he can co-opt. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. He'll swear it's fake news, a liberal twist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Encampments downtown, tents lining the street. Invisible people that power won't need. Hide them away so the cameras can't find it. Proof of a system that's cold and unkind. A payout in secret, an NDA sign, an illegal bribe. Michael Cohen fine. Trump got fined too over his gag order, but she didn't gag, cause he was much shorter. It must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. We can't let him win, we must resist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist.
They roll
coded in the laws. Ink still bleeds, treating women like soil, just planting seeds. She's gone, brain dead, not even awake, but the state's got a claim, gonna plant its stake. Say it's God's will, say it's life they protect, but they ain't the ones feeling pain or neglect. From Texas to Georgia, they set the trap. Rights roll back while they smile and clap. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey, MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. This ain't pro-life, it's control and shame. They don't care if she's gone, just playing a game. Keep her hooked to machines, cold and still, just a vessel to them, not a human with will. No consent, no voice, no chance to resist. Just laws in place, written with a clenched fist. Hospitals scared, judges playing God. Bodies ain't temples, just state-owned pods. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey, MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Bands in the dark, they don't care who it kills. Sacking courts while they strip out all of your wills. But we'll fight back, march loud, burn bright, cause this ain't the end, it's the start of the fight. Gilead's here, ain't no grace, and those leopards are coming to eat your face. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator.
The creative director at WGSO had a little something he thought you should know. When Dan picked on his bits, Steve got real gruff. So Steve called Dan a flake, called him liberal dandruff. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest. Steve's about to find out his mistake. In this feud, Dan's Kendrick, Steve is Drake. Dan might not be the world's best singer, but he's got more talent in his little finger. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest.